He randomly picked the 5-star necromancer class. He possessed an entire army of skeletons, summoning spirits from monsters to demons. It seemed to be just an apocalyptic world with a normal system, but there was a huge conspiracy by the supreme beings behind it. How will Sungwoo and his skeleton legion conquer this virtual world? Let's join Sungwoo on his journey to become a death god. Monday mornings on the way to work are always a disaster. Traffic jams are everywhere, especially on the buses where people squeeze and push against each other simply because it's too crowded. Some want to get out, some want to get in, and no one is willing to give way. And so that bus finally stopped in front of the main gate of a university, and everyone breathed a sigh of relief, having just escaped the nightmare of a Monday morning at the start of the week. Among them was this young man. He was struggling, panting, wiping the sweat pouring down his face like he was taking a shower, and constantly complaining, "Hell, going to school is truly hell on earth." He wondered to himself, "I don't understand how I could go to school in this condition back in my freshman year." But now he gave up. Either I have to rent a room or I drop out of school. If this continues, I'm done for. Lost in thought, a voice called from behind Senior Sungwoo. "You're a sergeant from a special task force, yet you're spouting such weak words." A smiling young man appeared and greeted him. "Don't tell me you were lying about being in a special task force. Someone who went through harsh training like you. Senior Sungwoo can't stand 2 hours in a lecture hall. That's too absurd." Faced with that sarcastic remark, Sungwoo cheerfully replied, "Hanho, you should enlist first before you talk to me. Let's see what your endurance level is then. You might just faint on your first day of service." Seeing himself being teased and mocked by his senior Hanho, pouted with a look of annoyance, his face not too pleased as he replied, "I'll just say this one thing: the resistance will surely succeed. The country will surely be unified." Sungwoo didn't understand what this kid was mumbling about. He showed a contemptuous look and said to his junior, "Give me a break. A guy who never watches the news is discussing world conflicts and national unification. I heard you delayed your enlistment because of that girl, Mi Young, didn't you?" His words were like a knife to Hanho's heart, making the boy only dare to look down at the ground as he walked, constantly muttering, "This old man, why did you have to bring that up?" Sungwoo walked ahead, seemingly unconcerned, and reminded Hanho 3 years ago, during the freshman welcome ceremony I already told you. Absolutely no chasing girls. The two of them talked as they walked up the lecture hall stairs, when suddenly Hanho stopped in his tracks. Seeing his junior standing still and silent, Sungwoo was a bit curious and turned back to tease him. "Hanho, don't tell me you're crying." But Hanho just kept looking in one direction. He pointed to the sky and said, "No, Senior Sungwoo, look. Look at the sky." Following his junior's direction, Sungwoo looked and looked, but still couldn't see a thing. He asked curiously, "The sky? What's wrong with the sky? Did Ma Young's face just appear up there?" Just as Hanho said, a line of text had appeared in the sky earlier, loading 99%. Hanho panicked hastily, telling Sungwoo to take a closer look. "Senior, look, did you see the text up there just now?" Sungwoo looked extremely confused. And then he came to a conclusion. "You miss Mi Young so much you've gone crazy, right?" Being teased like that, Hanho yelled to explain to his senior, "It's not like that." There was clearly text in the sky that said, "Monster downloading." It was 99% loaded. Right when you looked up, it hit 100%, so the text disappeared. Hanho pointed to the sky and continued. It appeared right over the library building over there, senior. But when Sungwoo looked where Hanho was pointing, there was still nothing. He got angry. "I think this brat is messing with me," so he used his massive muscles to put his junior in a headlock. Monsters. Can't you tell the difference between a game, a dream, and reality anymore? Even while being punished, Hanho still insisted he wasn't lying. "I'm telling the truth. You have to believe me." Sungwoo didn't want to argue and attract attention in the middle of the campus. He walked away, leaving a reminder. "Stop talking nonsense. You've been drinking too much lately, so you're just hallucinating." Faced with those words, Hanho also began to doubt himself, but he slapped his face a few times to sober up. Hanho chased after Sungwoo. "Senior Sungwoo, let's grab a cup of coffee before we go in. My mind is all foggy. I really need a coffee to wake up right now." Sungwoo waved him off. "No time. Professor Kim has already brought the hot stuff into the classroom. If we're a little late, this life is over." Hearing that Han-ho intended to tease Sung-woo, "You're planning to doze off again, aren't you? And you claim to have the Iron Will trained by a special task force." But when he felt the murderous aura from behind him, Han-ho immediately dropped that idea and quickly made his escape. "All right, I'll see you at lunch then. I'll probably skip class today, but I really did see that text earlier." Sung-woo didn't want to hear any more of that nonsense. He cut the conversation short. "Stop with the nonsense. I'm heading to class. Call me if you need anything." And so the two went their separate ways. Sung-woo went directly to the classroom, room 404. While the professor was lecturing enthusiastically up front, down below Sung-woo couldn't fight off the wave of sleepiness. He blamed himself. "I'm so sleepy. I should have had a cup of coffee before coming to class." Sung-woo's eyes gradually closed. He couldn't take it anymore and passed out without realizing it. Suddenly a system window appeared in front of Sung-woo with the text, "To survive in the apocalyptic world, which profession is the best? Please choose now." Sung-woo was bewildered, not understanding what was happening. He thought he was dreaming. But when he rubbed his eyes and woke up, he realized it was real. Suddenly all the lights burned out, plunging the space into darkness. This threw all the students here into chaos. They panicked and spoke up. "Huh, is the power out? What the hell is going on? I can't see anything." Sung-woo was no exception. Anxiety was clear on his face. He thought to himself, "It's the middle of a sunny day. How can everything be plunged into darkness like this? This is really strange. Even the phones aren't working." Suddenly, the same notification window that Sung-woo saw appeared before everyone. Some thought it was just a simple presentation app. But Sung-woo realized the issue immediately. This isn't a hallucination, nor is it some presentation app. Everyone is seeing this message. The notification appeared 15 seconds remaining. A sudden burst of light erupted, so bright that Sung-woo grimaced and had to cover his eyes with his hand. And now before him was a series of cards, from the 1-star thief to the 2-star knight, the 3-star mage, and even the healer. Everything appeared before them. Not only could Sung-woo see it, but everyone could. They were about to touch them to see, but someone cautiously warned, "Hey, everyone, don't just touch anything randomly. You could carelessly touch something and lose your life." That statement immediately received agreement. Back to Sung-woo, his mind was still racing with thoughts. He didn't think this was right, because it was very likely that not choosing would be even more dangerous, and if he did nothing, something would probably happen after 15 seconds. The notification now showed only 10 seconds remaining. Sung-woo was still hesitant, not knowing what to do. Do I have to choose one of these cards? He still couldn't figure out what was going on, or maybe it was like playing cards, just pick one randomly and be done with it. This system really made it difficult for the players, giving only a few seconds to make such a tough choice. While Sung-woo was lost in thought, the time given by the system was counting down. Suddenly, the 2-star knight card that was in front of Sung-woo disappeared. Unexpectedly, next to him, a sword appeared out of thin air. It turned out this chubby guy had accidentally chosen wrong, and now he was bewildered, not understanding where this sword came from. Sung-woo glanced to the side and immediately realized the sword in that guy's hand is from the warrior card from earlier. Sung-woo's expression turned uglier than ever because the system's countdown clock only had 5 seconds left. A thought flashed through his mind. Let's see. So now I need to choose the best thing to help me survive in this apocalyptic world. Glancing at the overall layout, Sung-woo saw that the number of stars below the cards also varied. He didn't understand what they meant either. But there was no more time to hesitate. Sung-woo took a gamble and chose the card with the most stars here. The system announced you have completed your profession card selection. The profession that Sung-woo chose was necromancer with 5 stars below the card. Sung-woo was still baffled by the profession he had just randomly chosen. When a new notification appeared on the system, the first round of profession selection has ended. Those who failed to choose, please wait for the next opportunity. After that, the notification disappeared without any further explanation, and then the space returned to normal reality, except that the sword the chubby guy was holding hadn't disappeared. Seeing the sword in the chubby guy's hand, everyone gathered around and chattered. What just happened? It's like a dream. And what's with that sword? The chubby guy probably knew how to explain it. He recounted, "It's because I chose the warrior card earlier, and then this thing fell out of that card." Sung Woo stood outside the conversation, a huge question popping into his head. So I've really become a necromancer. But why didn't anything fall out of the card for me before Sung Woo could think for long? There was a loud explosion from behind. Sung Woo froze, not understanding what was happening. From within the explosion, a person rushed out screaming in pain. Behind him was a small goblin holding a weapon and repeatedly stabbing it into the other's body. The screams grew louder and louder. "Someone please help me." But the response was a terrifying silence. Only the monster's eyes glowed. Stab after stab landed, blood splattering everywhere. The screams gradually faded. The desperate man reached his hand out to everyone, pleading for help. "Please save me, please," the moment he finished speaking. He died on the spot. As for the monster, after taking down its prey, it cackled triumphantly and didn't stop there. That terrifying expression sent everyone into a panic. Without a word, they all started running in one direction. Sung Woo wasn't as fast as the others. Witnessing what just happened left him in shock. Frozen on the spot, he was now facing a monster that could kill him at any moment. In a dangerous situation, Sung Woo couldn't stop blaming himself. Damn it, why am I always the one left behind like this? It seemed the monster had noticed Sung Woo. The pressure from it made it impossible for him to move. Unable to just stand there and wait to be cut in half, Sung Woo threw something straight at the goblin's face. Seeing this dangerous situation, the people behind him also urged, "Minsu, hurry up and use that sword to do something." The guy next to him added, "Minsu, what are you doing? Hurry up and attack it with that sword." Contrary to expectations, the chubby guy Minsu didn't know what he should do even with a sword in his hand. Sung Woo also turned back to encourage him. "Minsu, do you remember me?" Before he could finish, Minsu, scared and angry, roared, "Damn it! Why do you guys keep looking at me and telling me to do this and that?" Seeing that expression, Sung Woo knew, I can't possibly rely on this cowardly fatty. On this side, the angry goblin charged straight at Sung Woo, intending to take his life. Facing a monster with no combat experience himself, Sung Woo chose to run. But in that critical life-or-death moment, he realized that if he turned his back to that monster now, his life might be over. He could only go home twice a month, specifically on the full moon and new moon days. He did as he said. Immediately he turned around and kicked the monster with all his might, sending it flying backward in pain. As if gaining confidence, Sung Woo reassured everyone, "Don't be afraid. It's just an animal that weighs 15 kilograms. Finishing his sentence, Sung Woo conveniently grabbed a nearby chair, intending to charge and smash the goblin with it. But life isn't a dream. The chair was stuck in the mess and Sung Woo couldn't pull it out. Seeing such a comical scene, the goblin smirked contemptuously. It seized the opportunity, still holding the weapon from before, and charged, intending to send Sung Woo to meet his ancestors. Standing at death's door, Sung Woo refused to stand still and accept his fate. Using all his might, I wonder if I shat my pants. But he finally managed to pull the chair out. He roared a curse. "You damn bastard!" The moment he finished, the chair smashed right into the goblin's head. It suffocated on the spot, seeing it no longer moving. Sung Woo finally relaxed his body, panting heavily from exhaustion. A sudden notification appeared before Sung Woo. "You have successfully hunted a goblin. You have received 10 gold. While Sung Woo was confused by the notification, the people behind him still hadn't recovered from his recent battle. Meanwhile, Sung Woo was still struggling with his thoughts. Understanding the meaning of these messages is extremely important right now. The goblin monster, or 10 gold coins. Sung Woo guessed it was like a fantasy game world. The system's notification updated again. Your power is to turn the deceased into your subordinates. Minion Index. Number 1. Level 1. Skull Goblin Weapon, Dagger Race. Goblin Attribute, Undead. Still not quite understanding the minion list. The students were once again in an uproar, pointing behind them. The goblin that was killed earlier suddenly came back to life, surrounded by a burning soul flame. It knelt before Sung Woo, completely different from before when it was focused on taking his life. Sung Woo watched it kneel on the ground while his mind was still processing the whole event. And he realized that the class he chose could resurrect these undead to become his minions. That was precisely the ability of the class called Necromancer. Having just acquired a subordinate and not yet had time to test its strength, 2 more goblins suddenly rushed into the room from nowhere. holding two weapons and as before with an aggressive attitude, wanting to eat humans alive. Their appearance once again terrified everyone. The young man from before trembled and shouted a warning, "It's them again." This time, there are two of them. Facing two monsters, although it wasn't his first time confronting a goblin, Sungwoo couldn't help but feel a little panicked. Below Sungwoo's skeleton was still kneeling on the ground. A notification appeared above its head. "The skeleton is awaiting your command." Sungwoo gritted his teeth silently, giving a command to his subordinate in his mind. "Fight, destroy them." The command was just given when the kneeling skeleton suddenly stood up, its eyes flashing. The two goblins, seeing their own kind looking at them, were also bewildered, not understanding what was happening. But the skeleton didn't need to explain. It charged, grabbed one goblin's head, and stabbed its weapon straight into the opponent's body, much to their surprise. However, these guys were no pushovers. It reacted to this surprise situation. The goblin used its own weapon to block the skeleton's second slash. The other one from behind also rushed in to support its comrade. A clean, sharp cut, and just like that, the skeleton lost its left arm. It was inevitable in a 2-on-1 fight. Even if you're not blind, you'll be crippled. The skeleton quickly fell into a disadvantageous position, ganged up on by the two goblins, and could only defend itself. Seeing the situation wasn't good, Sungwoo understood all too well that if he just stood aside and watched the skeleton fight, it wouldn't be long before he had to fight alone. Sungwoo silently assessed from the side. These are just small-sized goblins, not very dangerous if I had a bigger weapon. Thinking this, he acted. Sungwoo turned around and asked to borrow Minsu's sword. "Hey Minsu, toss that sword over here quick." Minsu was bewildered, then clutched the sword tightly, as if afraid someone would take it. He instinctively stepped back and asked, "Why should I give you the sword?" Sungwoo had no time to explain. He urged, "Hurry up, I'll take care of them." Minsu maintained his selfish attitude, shouting, "This thing is mine. I was the one who chose it." Angrily, Sungwoo pointed behind him and said, "Then you go ahead and deal with them." Looking behind him and seeing the bloodthirsty monsters, Minsu turned pale with fear. His legs could barely stand, let alone fight them. Sungwoo was speechless. He was helpless against this Minsu. With no other choice, Sungwoo could only resort to his old method. He grabbed the chair next to him and charged straight at the monsters, intending to provide support for his subordinate. The chair was thrown directly at the two monsters, preventing them from surrounding the skeleton. Seizing the opportunity, the skeleton quickly finished off both of them at once, ending the dangerous battle. Sungwoo panted. Throwing that big chair really takes a lot of energy. At the same time, a notification appeared before him. "You have received 20 gold for killing the goblin monsters." Meanwhile, even though the skeleton had lost an arm, it still radiated soul fire, standing tall and waiting for its master's next command. Sungwoo slowly approached it. Although the skeleton was now his subordinate, with its appearance and deadly gaze, Sungwoo still felt a little scared. He timidly spoke up. "Well, I'm sorry, but your face is a bit scary. Can you look somewhere else for me?" The command was just given, and the skeleton sadly lowered its head to the ground. Sungwoo, standing beside it, didn't expect this situation. He never thought a skeleton could also feel disappointed. As if to answer his question, the system displayed a notification. "Under the influence of the necromancer class, skeletons will always obey you. Touch for more information on skeletons. The maximum number of summoned skeletons has been reached." After the chaos here was resolved, the professor appeared. He asked Sungwoo what happened. Sungwoo shook his head and replied, "I don't know either, but..." Before he could finish his sentence, a shrill scream from a female student came from behind, making everyone turn to see what was wrong. The girl with a frightened expression hastily told her professor, "Professor, I can't get in touch with the police." Sungwoo's expression suddenly turned uglier than ever. He guessed, this is happening all over the school campus, or maybe all over the country. The curtains were opened, revealing an incredibly terrifying scene. Like the apocalypse, everywhere was scorched, and flames seemed to be burning down the entire city. A more frightening thought crossed Sungwoo's mind. Perhaps this disaster isn't just in Korea, but maybe the whole world is falling into an era of destruction. And after that, everyone quickly evacuated the classroom, because hiding here wasn't a safe measure either. Scene change. A student with dyed blonde hair was proudly showing off to a girl. He boasted, "My car is in the parking lot," but he didn't notice the strange expression from his female friend. because in front of them, a horde of goblin monsters had blocked their path. Before just looking at the blood on the weapons and on the floor was enough to know that quite a few students had been killed by them. Still on the hunt, they chased a group of students who were running in chaos. As the blade was about to fall on a beautiful girl, from out of nowhere Sungwoo's skeleton legion appeared to save everyone. 3 versus 2, this was a favorable matchup for Sungwoo, but there was no time to delay. He shouted a warning to everyone. "This place is dangerous. Everyone run. I'll take care of them." To be precise, he meant these goblins, not his skeleton subordinates. Overwhelmed by panic and fear, everyone ran on instinct, running wherever they saw a path, but it was a deadly choice. Because splitting up like this was extremely dangerous. Sungwoo tried to stop them, but it was too late. He had to put this matter aside because in this apocalyptic world, it was every man for himself. And although it wasn't clear what was happening, Sungwoo was certain of one thing: this game still had rules, and we were forced to follow them. First were the professions, which were distributed to everyone, and along with them came initial monsters that were quite easy to defeat. Sungwoo stood there clenching his fists, thinking, "I don't know if I'm right or wrong anymore, but I predict the survival rate will definitely be higher if we fight the monsters." He also felt lucky because at least he had those subordinates ready to support him in battle. In this battle, although they had superior numbers, it wasn't as easy as we imagined. Not only that this group of goblins seemed stronger than the last, it launched deadly attacks, just having chopped off an arm. Turning the skeleton into a one-armed man, it then launched its next attack, turning the skeleton into the legendary Headless General. The skull was sent flying, rolling on the ground towards Sungwoo's feet. His expression started to become worried, and the system also announced, "Your skeleton has returned to the void." Sungwoo, standing on the sidelines, could only pray, acting as the cheerleading captain. "Go on, my warriors, take them down." The battle returned to a balanced state. Now it was 2 versus 2. But it was as if his subordinates heard his prayer. The skeletons were fired up, their entire bodies emanating hellfire. They fearlessly charged straight at the opponents in front of them to protect their master. The outcome this time was different from the 3-on-2 battle. A notification appeared: "You have defeated 2 goblin monsters. You have received 20 gold." Sungwoo was overjoyed because once again he had won a battle against monsters. Sungwoo slowly walked towards his 2 skeletons. He praised his subordinates, "Well done, my warriors." Suddenly another notification appeared. "Notice you have leveled up, reached level 2. Quite surprised because he didn't expect there to be a leveling system. Upon reaching level 2, Sungwoo's status window also appeared. Just like in games, the system window displayed all the stats along with the player's information. But one thing was different. If in a game, you get attribute points after leveling up, Sungwoo instead received an upgrade card for his own necromancer profession. 5 options appeared right before Sungwoo. They included random stats, random skill, random equipment, random other, and finally random power. Sungwoo's face fell a little because all of these things required using his luck to gacha. And usually the gacha style of game developers is like, if you're lucky, you get everything. If you're unlucky, you get crap. But they never say when you'll be lucky. After thinking for a moment, Sungwoo decided to choose random skill. To him, this was always a crucial factor in any game. The card was just drawn, and a notification immediately appeared. "Your maximum number of summoned skeletons has increased by 1. On the ground, the goblins that had just been defeated. On the ground, the goblins that had just been defeated." Sungwoo was a little startled. He asked himself, "Mana only, 30. Then he looked towards the skeletons and said, "So you guys aren't that expensive, huh?" Hearing this, the subordinates didn't understand a thing. They all looked at Sungwoo, waiting for him to explain further. But Sungwoo waved his hand and replied, "Never mind. I'm getting the creeps. Sorry, but please don't look at me like that anymore." As if commanded by a master who was shunning them, the skeletons became sad. Returning to this battle for survival, 4 skeletons were surrounding and protecting Sungwoo while he tried to calm himself. Because if he didn't pull himself together, it was very likely he would make a mistake. And right now, even a small mistake could cost him his life. After some consideration, Sungwoo decided first he had to try to escape this place. Thinking this, he acted. Sungwoo and his 4 subordinates worked together to find a way to survive and leave this place. But things weren't as easy as Sungwoo thought. Down on the school grounds, it was even more chaotic than inside the school hallways. The goblins were mercilessly killing everyone here, sparing no one. Standing above, Sung-woo saw this chaotic scene. He angrily slammed his fist on the glass window and cursed, "Damn it! I thought this place would be better. If I had gone down to the grounds earlier, I might have escaped this place by now." Although it was dangerous below, he couldn't stay here forever. Sung-woo once again made a decision. He and his 4 subordinates would go down to the lower floors to see what was happening. Meanwhile, Hanho, weapon in hand, was running for his life from the goblins behind him. He accidentally ran into Sung-woo's subordinates down here. Seeing monsters right in front of him, Hanho was terrified, tears and snot running down his face. He screamed as if to let the whole world know he was scared. As if by instinct, he took his weapon and stabbed it straight into the skeleton's head. Hearing the familiar voice, Sung-woo immediately recognized it was his junior Hanho. As for Hanho, it was only when he saw Sung-woo that he calmed down a bit. He stammered, "Is that you, Senior Sung-woo?" Then he raised his weapon again, pointing it straight at the skeletons, and cautiously asked, "Then who are these guys?" Sung-woo tried to explain to Hanho. "Oh, it's okay. They're my personal guard that I just summoned." Hanho was still a bit scared and asked again, "Is it really okay, Senior?" Meanwhile, the skeleton that was just stabbed by Hanho now had cracks on its head, but its teammate managed to give it first aid in time, putting tape on its head. Sung-woo asked about his junior's situation. "Hey, Hanho, it seems you also chose a profession card, right?" Hanho didn't hide anything. He replied, "That's right. I chose the thief profession card." Feeling suspicious, Sung-woo covered his face and asked further to clarify his own question. "Out of all of them, which star-level card did you choose?" Hanho cheerfully replied, "I chose the 1-star card, but it's a bright star. It's good, right, Senior?" The expressions of Sung-woo's entire legion froze as if they'd been pickled. He was at a loss for words at his junior's ignorance. Putting that discussion aside, Sung-woo led Hanho downstairs to find a safe place first. And now moving around was quite easy. Just walking behind these skeletons would keep them safe. While they were moving, a system notification suddenly appeared, "Synergy Skill Thief's Dagger Level 1. The activation condition is equipping 5 daggers, and the effects received are an increased critical hit rate and 10% more gold received." Hanho was surprised, perhaps, because this was the first time he had seen a private system notification like that. "Hey, Senior Sung-woo, you can see it too, can't you?" Sung-woo grunted in acknowledgement, then thoughtfully considered the matter. He realized, if we share the same type of equipment, we'll receive a hidden buff. Like in this situation, Hanho, accompanied by 4 skeletons, holding daggers, receives a special effect. This also means if we team up with a good party, we'll gain a lot of benefits. And it wasn't just Sung-woo who benefited. All the skeletons also received combat advantages. Thinking about this, Sung-woo shivered slightly. Although I'm not entirely sure their skills are truly formidable, this means that even if I'm playing solo, just having the skeletons with me is enough to get a buff equivalent to a full party. Continuing their journey to the lower floors, Sung-woo's skeletons suddenly stopped, because they had encountered a group of goblin monsters. This time, it wasn't just small goblins. Accompanying them was a tall, dark, and menacing figure. Just one look was enough to tell that its strength far surpassed these small fries. Sung-woo and his companions came face to face with the goblin team captain. Hanho panicked, stated the obvious. He pointed at the monsters and said, "Senior Sung-woo, it seems that one is the captain." After hearing this, Sung-woo remained silent. Beads of sweat started to form on his face as he focused on observing. But luckily, a beneficial buff for Sung-woo appeared. Enemy goblin party, affected by level 1 death aura, their strength will be reduced by 30%. Activation condition when there are 4 or more skeletons in your party. The goblin minions, seeing the debuff on themselves, were also a bit scared. Perhaps that's why this goblin party didn't directly charge and attack Sung-woo and Hanho. Sung-woo smirked to himself. It seems luck is on our side this time. To avoid any unforeseen complications, he ordered his subordinates to charge and attack. As expected, with overwhelming momentum and power, Sung-woo's skeletons easily defeated the monsters in front of them. Hanho, watching from the side, couldn't help but jump for joy. "Your team is really amazing, Senior Sung-woo." However, the joy was short-lived. The real challenge this time was the goblin captain itself. The goblin captain's massive arm rose. gathering a circle of magic in its hand, then slammed it onto the ground. The goblin captain has activated the Wild Frenzy skill. The goblins in the team have their strength increased. The effect was immediate. Power exploded within the goblin monsters, and the situation instantly reversed. Sungwoo's goblin army was completely overwhelmed, and it seemed they had no chance to fight back at all. Seeing the situation wasn't looking good, Hanho urged his senior, "What's going on? Should we run, senior?" But Sungwoo patiently stayed. He trusted himself and his army to defeat this horde and began to reassess the battle situation. Sungwoo realized that these goblin monsters were following the orders of that large captain, so the simple thing he needed to do was to take it down. As if understanding its master's thoughts, one skeleton, taking advantage of the chaos, launched itself into the air. Heading straight for the goblin captain, the skeleton raised its dagger high, and while the goblin captain was completely unaware, it brought down a slash on the enemy. Taking the goblin captain's magic-wielding arm with it, a roar echoed through the hallway as the goblin captain screamed in pain. The skeleton that had just finished its task landed safely, but it also had to pay the price for its action. A powerful kick from the sky landed squarely on its small body. Losing the strength enhanced by magic, the goblin monster army immediately reverted to its original form, becoming useless. Because of that, Sungwoo's death aura enveloped skeletons in just a moment, defeated all the opponents. A series of notifications appeared. You have received 11 gold for defeating the goblins. The battle with the small goblins was a one-sided fight, but the battle with the goblin captain was the real deal. The huge monster single-handedly took on all three of Sungwoo's subordinates. However, the morale of Sungwoo's skeleton army did not falter. Although their strength was inferior, their coordination was extremely good. Cuts and slashes were continuously dealt to the goblin captain's body. The final blow was a slash across the captain's body. It didn't even have time to react before it was killed. Before ascending to the heavens, it just growled a few more times, and then collapsed to the ground. A notification appeared. You received 55 gold for defeating the goblin captain. Hanho, seeing what had just happened, his face went rigid as if he couldn't believe what he had just witnessed. After defeating an entire party, it was now time to collect the spoils of war. Hanho pointed to the captain's weapon. "Senior Sungwoo, it seems this equipment can all be used." Sungwoo quickly collected the equipment of the goblin captain. First was the low-grade throwing spear with normal rarity categorized as a weapon, a one-handed weapon, and with no effects whatsoever. The bracelet the goblin captain was wearing was quite good. It was called the Wild Bracelet of rare quality. With the accompanying effect, small monsters gain a 20% attack bonus when facing the goblin species. At the same time, goblin skeletons gain an additional 20% attack speed. The buff skill will activate when the conditions are met. Activation condition: assemble a full party of the goblin race. Additionally, when equipping this bracelet, you can also use its accompanying skill, Wild Frenzy, a D-rank buffing skill. Effect: the goblin party will receive a 10% damage and 20% attack speed bonus for 10 minutes, with a 1-hour cooldown. After checking the information, Sungwoo silently assessed, "This bracelet seems pretty good, not a waste for the tough battle just now." Seeing the one-armed goblin, it was also the one that had broken through the encirclement and cut off one of the goblin captain's arms. Sungwoo proudly patted its head and praised, "You did a good job." The goblin let out a terrifying, pleased laugh. Being human, seeing a monster laugh so scarily, Sungwoo still couldn't get used to it. He jumped back in fear. "What's with that scary face? Don't do that again." The business on this floor was done. Hanho then asked, "Where do we go next?" Still with the original goal. Sungwoo wanted to find a way out of this place first. On this side, the students who had safely escaped the goblin attack had all gathered in the lobby of a certain floor. And Sungwoo, along with Hanho, had also found their way to this place. Seeing this wasn't a place for his skeletons to appear, Sungwoo pointed in a direction and gave a command. "Hey, you guys hide in the copy room. People will freak out if they see walking skeletons." Hanho agreed with his boss's opinion. "I agree with both hands and both feet. I was also creeped out the first time I saw them. If they appear, everyone will definitely panic." After that, Sungwoo stepped inside. Inside, a long-haired guy was instructing everyone please calm down. "We are trying to contact the police, and the student council is also investigating what is happening in this school." A girl couldn't sit still calmly. She agitatedly retorted, Do you think the police have time to come save us? Let's just break down that door and figure it out from there. But the long-haired guy shook his head, rejecting the idea. We've already tried, but no matter how hard we try, it's impossible. But the girl still didn't believe him. She spoke as if splashing water in the long-haired guy's face. What do you mean it won't break? Don't you lie to me. This guy still tried to calm the girl down. It's really true. So everyone please calm down. Sungwoo approached from behind. He recognized this long-haired guy. It was his senior Lee Jin-sok. This guy was extremely concerned with the hierarchical system and was also an influential figure in this environment. He was also notorious for deliberately harassing female students. Sungwoo silently guessed this guy's intentions. It seems his ambition is to get a seat in the student council. Seeing Sungwoo approach the door, this guy angrily shouted, "I told you to stay away from that door. Is there something wrong with your ears?" Sungwoo and Hanho froze for a few seconds, not understanding what was happening. Then Jin-seok let out a sigh and switched into Hollywood actor mode. He gently explained, "I'm sorry for getting angry. Today has been so stressful that I lost my temper. You two might not know because you just arrived, but I only want to protect everyone's safety here." Sungwoo had a disdainful expression because he knew the other guy was acting high and mighty in attitude he didn't like at all. Jin-seok concernedly asked Hanhae Sungwoo, "Did you also get your profession card?" Sungwoo didn't want to hide it either. He replied, "Ah yes, we both got them. This is Hanho. You know this kid, you must be crying." Being introduced in front of his senior, Hanho politely bowed, "Hello, senior. My name is Hanho. Jin-seok awkwardly scratched his head and ears, feigning familiarity. "Ah yes, I remember now. I think I've met this kid before. I don't come to school often, so I don't remember clearly, but I'm sure I know this kid." Skipping the greetings, Jin-seok continued to ask Sungwoo and Hanho, "By the way, do you two know we're in a dangerous situation? If you both have weapons, please help us protect everyone." Sungwoo immediately agreed. He wasn't a selfish person who only thought of himself. That guy Jin-seok's eyes suddenly turned cunning. "Ah, one more thing. What are your two professions?" He glanced at the large spear in Sungwoo's hand and silently guessed, "Looks like you're a spearman, huh? I wonder if you can support us." And then this guy started flexing about his own achievements. "I once defeated a green monster. It was a goblin. As you all know, even with a weapon in hand, it's not easy to defeat them. Like me here, I chose a 2-star card, with the profession of a defensive warrior." His face full of pride, he pointed at himself and declared, "If anything happens, just hide behind me." Sungwoo's face darkened while Hanho pinched his nose in disgust. It seemed what this guy was saying stank so much he couldn't stand it. Sungwoo just grunted to get it over with. At this moment, the chubby guy Min-soo, who had been scared before but now decided to fight the monsters, rushed over to report something important to Jin-seok, "Sir. I think I heard goblins on the floor above," Min-soo said. Seeing this, Jin-seok commanded everyone, "All right, everyone try to stay quiet. All of you hide in that coffee shop." Jin-seok, like a leader, continued, "I will stand guard at the entrance to ensure everyone's safety." Regardless of how Jin-seok wanted to show off, Sungwoo did his own thing. He called Hanho to a corner to talk. "Hey Hanho, come here. I have something private to tell you." The two stood before a locked door. Hanho quietly asked his senior, "Do you see it?" Sungwoo's expression wasn't very good as he replied, "Of course I do." The main reason was, the gate to this place has been sealed by a powerful magic. Defeat the final boss to release the magic and open this gate. Failing to attack the monsters within the specified time will make the monsters in the building stronger. Sungwoo wanted to test his strength. He went to the door and pulled hard, but it didn't budge. This door really can't be broken. Looking at the notification on that door, Hanho also realized it has a countdown. He guessed it seems this is the time limit. If we don't defeat the boss within the time limit, everyone will probably be in danger, and there's not much time left. 2 hours and 11 minutes is all that remains. Sungwoo wasn't sure about the point Hanho just made. He spoke up, "I'm not sure either. But we definitely need to find and kill the boss as soon as possible. We can't rely on anyone else to come and save us anymore." Because the situation was at a red alert level. Everyone was struggling to save themselves, so who could possibly come to help them? Right now, anyone who wasn't clear-headed would be the first to die. When everyone had left that guy, Jinseok struck up a conversation with Sungwoo again. Hey, Sungwoo, you and Minsu know each other, right? You're both in the same year, aren't you? The chubby guy Minsu shyly avoided Sungwoo's gaze. He hesitantly replied, yes, of course we know each other. The moment he finished speaking, Jinseok threw his arms around both of them, pulling them close as if they were very familiar. He intimately whispered, That's awesome. I'll let you two be my close juniors. Let's form a team and fight together. Okay? Minsu had a resigned expression and said nothing while Sungwoo jumped up with an objection. Wait a minute, form a team. Right now, are you serious? Hearing that Jinseok's attitude changed 180 degrees. Is there a problem? Do you have an opinion on something? Sungwoo pointed towards the door. Didn't you read the notice on that entrance door? This guy nonchalantly replied, Of course I read it. We can't get out. We can only sit and wait. Once the rescue team arrives, everyone will be safe. Sungwoo heard this guy's ignorant opinion, and it drove him mad. Wait for a rescue team. Do you think the police will come here? What if this is happening all over the world? The police wouldn't have time to pay attention to us. Jinseok scratched his head and asked back, Hey, you've done your military service, right? Sungwoo didn't understand what this guy was getting at. Without making him wait long, the guy confidently said, You've been in the army. So why do you still doubt them? The army will definitely step in and everything will be fine. No need to worry. Sungwoo was at a loss for words with this guy. He thought to himself, This guy is crazy. There's no way the army can rescue everyone instantly. All right, calm down. Everyone's in a dangerous situation. I shouldn't agitate them either. Sungwoo said no more. He sighed and along with Hanho turned to leave. But that action seemed to provoke a self-important person like this Jinseok. He shouted loudly, Hey you, what's with that attitude? Damn it, I warned you to stay away from that door. If you want to survive, listen to your big brother and hide in the coffee shop, you two inexperienced brats. But he hadn't been smug for long before he and Minsu were scared out of their wits, because Sungwoo's army had appeared in the hallway. Everyone in the coffee shop also peeked out to see what was going on. As for that guy Jinseok, he was so terrified by the appearance of the skeletons that he hastily raised his shield to defend himself. Not forgetting to urge Minsu, pick up your weapon, we need to block them, don't let them get inside the safe zone. He had only been bragging for a few sentences when his momentum was doused by Minsu. Scared, he pointed in another direction. Sir, there are more. They're appearing in the hallway too. From the hallway, a few skeletons slowly appeared. Seeing himself surrounded, Jinseok finally knew what fear was. What the hell is going on now? Sungwoo stood before his skeleton army. They're not goblins. I understand that rights must come with responsibilities, but we need to be clear-headed right now. If a madman is made the leader, all of us will perish. Feeling mocked and his pride hurt, Jinseok retorted loudly, What did you say, as if you've received some great power? Sungwoo didn't want to say much. He answered concisely, Perhaps so. He wanted to prove it all with his actions. The hunt officially began. As before, the level 1 death aura was activated, reducing the opponent goblin's strength by 30%. The death aura filled the air, making the entire horde of goblin monsters fearful as they faced Sungwoo's overwhelming legion. He slowly destroyed every monster in his path, advancing towards the boss that needed to be defeated in order to open the sealed gate. Inside the coffee shop, everyone was looking in one direction. Some were excited, others were scared, and some were surprised. Even that guy Jinseok couldn't keep his composure in the face of the situation unfolding before him. Sungwoo's skeleton legion completely overwhelmed the goblin horde. The horde of monsters could only cower and take the hits. Not only that, Sungwoo also decided to take his spear and hunt this teeming swarm of monsters. The skeleton legion cleared the path, while Sungwoo supported with attacks from behind. The whole team just kept destroying the opponents, advancing to find the final boss. Standing behind Jinseok couldn't help but feel a shiver of terror. His face was covered in sweat, and at the same time he exclaimed, I had already planned my escape route from this goblin horde, but that guy is charging forward to kill them one by one. Returning to Sungwoo's battle, his momentum made the bloodthirsty goblins, who now had to tremble instinctively, retreat in fear. But it wasn't that easy. Sungwoo commanded his skeleton legion block the staircase. Don't let them escape. Instantly, 2 skeletons appeared at the staircase holding daggers to block the way. The coordination was perfect. Sungwoo had to praise them. Well done. Hold them for me. While fighting, he thought to himself, if others see how I command the skeletons, they will surely understand that I can control the situation. From there, we can easily fight the boss. According to the game's rules, we definitely have to defeat that boss. Fighting together is always the best way. Meanwhile, the battle was still fierce. A hidden buff activated the skill thief's dagger, increasing the critical hit rate by an additional 10%. Equipping the wild bracelet for damage, activating its skill, adding 20 strength when fighting goblin monsters. Sungwoo realized that with this bracelet and buff skill, these goblins were nothing. But surely this world didn't just have these goblins. Other terrifying monsters would eventually appear. Chatter filled the room. Some people, seeing Sungwoo's overwhelming power, started to wonder, hey, does that guy have the ability to control the undead? Who is he? What's his major? Someone who recognized Sungwoo spoke up to answer the question. I think that's our senior currently studying in the creative writing department. Returning to the battle, the Skeleton Legion and Sungwoo finally wiped out the goblins in this area. Though a bit tiring, it was still an overwhelming victory. Seeing the situation change, everyone became joyful. Countless praises and compliments were directed at the young man Sungwoo at this moment. He's amazing. Someone as strong as him is studying literature. My goodness. How fortunate, we're lucky to have someone like him here. After clearing out these small goblins, Sungwoo went to search around, but no equipment dropped at all. Perhaps normal monsters don't drop equipment, only captains or bosses do. Just as he was feeling a bit disappointed about no new equipment, the system displayed a notification. You have received a lucky ticket after defeating 20 monsters. You are the 34th person to complete this limited achievement with a maximum of 100 people. Having just received the notification from the system, Sungwoo unconsciously felt his pants pocket, but in the end, there was nothing there. His pockets were completely empty. He wondered, a lucky ticket? I don't see any in my inventory. How do I use it? Sungwoo decided to figure it out later. He turned to his Skeleton Legion and praised them. Well done, my brothers. Being praised, the skeletons seemed to be filled with more death aura. They became more terrifying than their normal appearance, and Sungwoo was startled once again. Hanho, standing next to him, also shivered at their faces. Sungwoo reminded them again, hey, I told you guys not to make that face anymore. Returning victorious in glory, Sungwoo confidently stepped inside. He smugly said to Jin Seok, how about that senior Jin Seok? Was I useful? Jin Seok's face turned beet red. He was furious but couldn't do anything about it. Sungwoo, along with his skeleton army, entered the coffee shop to do some ideological work. He spoke up. I'm sure everyone has read the notice on the front door. We are currently trapped by a very powerful magic. Hearing this, someone fearfully asked Sungwoo back, so what should we do? Is there any way to escape this place? Sungwoo pointed towards the sealed door. According to the notice at the gate, we need to defeat the boss located somewhere in this building. At the mention of needing to kill monsters, everyone's expression soured. They didn't want to risk their lives for this. Sungwoo continued. We only have 2 hours left. We must defeat that boss monster. If we don't defeat it according to the rules, the situation will surely become extremely dire. And because it's a boss monster, we won't be able to win if we fight it individually. Suddenly, a young man in the crowd raised his hand to voice an opinion. His whole body trembled as he recalled this. I've seen that boss before. He added, I went up to the rooftop. I saw a giant monster appear there. It killed a professor up there. Receiving this information, Sungwoo decided to go to the rooftop to deal with it immediately. Before leaving, he asked everyone, does anyone want to come with me to fight that boss? But everyone avoided his gaze, looking down at the ground. Seeing that attitude, Sungwoo understood. Of course no one. After all, the opponent this time is really tough. A small mistake and you could lose your life in an instant. Hanho next to him had an opinion. He awkwardly scratched his head and said, Senior Sungwoo, I think maybe we should stay. Sungwoo let out a smirk. No can do, little brother. You have to come with me to buff the skeletons. Hanho began to plead, begging, please take this precious dagger from your little brother and let me stay here. Sungwoo shook his head and refused. Just when he thought everyone was refusing to fight, a girl's voice came from behind. Even if everyone fights together, I don't think the outcome would be very favorable, would it? Those people panicked just from seeing a few small monsters? It's really annoying. She also bluntly said, Look at your skeletons. Why bring along those useless people when your skeletons are much more useful? This girl is Yoonji-soo, 23 years old, with the profession of tiger hunter, a 3-star profession. A tiger hunter is indeed different. With just a glance from her, the guys behind her were scared out of their wits and didn't dare to look back. Sungwoo heard what Jisoo just said and felt it made sense. No one knows how strong the boss is. It's truly difficult. Sungwoo continued to look for teammates to fight the boss. He turned to ask the loudest mouth here. Jinseok, what about you? Are you coming to fight the final boss with us? Being called out by name, Jinseok jumped. Unlike his previous arrogant attitude, he was now like a little puppy. He gave a fawning laugh and made an excuse. I think I should stay here. Someone needs to stay behind to protect everyone. Sungwoo knew full well this guy was a coward, just making excuses. But he couldn't force him to fight. With a contemptuous and helpless expression, he said, "All right then, just stay there and defend for me." And so the party of 3 people and 4 skeletons advanced to the rooftop. Now they had to go through each floor one by one, which would probably take quite a bit of time. Hanho was dragged along to fight, even though he didn't really want to, so his expression was still dazed. Sungwoo had to remind him, "Hey Hanho, don't slack off. If you want to survive, pay attention." It was a good thing, Sungwoo reminded him. Goblin monsters rushed out from nowhere in a surprise attack. They were no longer in small groups of 3 or 4, but a whole horde, at least a dozen goblins. They formed a line blocking the way up the stairs. Seeing the situation wasn't good, Sungwoo quickly commanded the formation, "You two cover the rear for me." But before he could finish his sentence, Jisoo with her sword charged straight ahead, breaking through the encirclement. With just a basic sword strike, she easily took down 2 of them. Her reflexes were incredibly fast. A goblin tried to take advantage of an opening to attack from behind, but it also met a bitter end. The next sword strike went straight for it, and the result was instant death. After dealing with this group, she remained completely calm. Seeing what just happened, Hanho, standing behind, had to widen his eyes in surprise. He never expected a girl could do this. Hanho was full of praise. "Senior Sungwoo, this girl is amazing." On this side, Sungwoo and his skeleton legion had also cleared out the monsters blocking the way. There wasn't much time to linger here. They had to quickly advance to the rooftop. Stepping up the scene was incredibly terrifying. Bodies lay scattered everywhere, and among them was someone Sungwoo knew. The professor was dying, leaning against the wall, his whole body drenched in red blood. Even his white shirt was stained red by the blood. Seeing his professor, Sungwoo rushed over to ask about the situation. "Professor, why are you here?" Before Sungwoo could finish his sentence, the professor interrupted. "He cried like a child. My students, they were all killed by the monsters. All because of me. It's my fault." Sungwoo tried to console him. "Please calm down, Professor. Can you tell me what happened?" The professor's whole body trembled violently. He replied, "Thanks to you, we were able to reach the research lab safely. And after that, I had a feeling that staying in one place wouldn't be safe, so we all moved up to the rooftop to escape. I was just following the survival guide, so I made that decision." Hearing this, Sungwoo also understood the root of the problem. The professor continued, "Up there we encountered a terrible monster, and the students who trusted me all lost their lives there." Everyone fell silent upon hearing this tragic story. Before passing away, the professor still tried to warn Sungwoo. "Hey, Sungwoo, never go to the rooftop. Don't go there. That place is too dangerous. You must survive." As he finished speaking, the professor passed away. He was too heavily injured to be treated. Surviving until now was already a miracle. Seeing the professor die before his eyes and being unable to do anything, Sungwoo was enraged. He gripped the spear in his hand tightly. His face dark, and he stared down at the ground. A system notification appeared. Side quest activated, "Avenge the Professor." Choice: you can accept or decline the quest. Reward: random skill. Objective: kill the boss monster. The system also added a reminder: the time limit is the same as the main quest's time limit. Your choice will affect your destiny later on. Faced with a choice that would affect his future destiny, Sungwoo gritted his teeth in anger. He didn't understand why everyone had to suffer this brutal tragedy. Sungwoo said nothing more and stepped forward. Hanho was a bit hesitant. "Senior, do we really have to go up and fight the boss?" Sungwoo remained silent. He answered with his actions. Sungwoo's eyes became more determined than ever. Sungwoo's party officially entered the final boss's room. A fierce battle was about to begin. On the rooftop, smoke and fire filled the air. The monsters had taken over this place as their territory. They set up their base right here, and their food was the students who had mistakenly wandered onto the rooftop. Just as he stepped onto the rooftop, Sungwoo was startled by the scene before him. Hanho was no exception. He stammered, pointing at the monsters. Senior Sungwoo, the person lying on the ground over there, is my classmate. Contrary to the fear, Jisoo showed anger. She was about to charge in for a life-or-death battle with these heartless monsters. But Sungwoo raised his hand to stop Jisoo's rash anger. Sungwoo thought to himself, I need to calm down and assess the situation here first. Why did we end up in a situation like this? And to make sure this never happens again, I need to become stronger. And so Sungwoo's party, along with the Skeleton Legion, advanced onto the rooftop. Seeing intruders in their territory, the goblins immediately alerted each other. They gathered very quickly, and just a few minutes later, Sungwoo was blocked by the entire horde. Seeing the overwhelming numbers, Hanho felt the situation was not good. He advised Senior Sungwoo, maybe we should run away first. But Sungwoo said no to that. He decided he had to face them to become stronger. Instantly, the Wild Bracelet's skill was activated. Wild Frenzy granting the Goblin Party an additional 10% damage and 20% attack speed. Sungwoo's skeleton team burned with intensity, making the other group somewhat hesitant. Although they were buffed with more power, this battle was truly difficult. Quality could not yet overwhelm quantity. While fighting, Sungwoo commanded his skeletons, "Hey brothers, use those corpses as shields." After saying that, Sungwoo focused on his own fight. Jisoo was no less impressive still with her sharp sword strikes, one hit, one kill. In contrast, Hanho was really just there to fill out the roster. He stood behind not knowing what to do and began to lament his fate. This thing is useless. Why did I choose it? I thought it would be useful, but who knew it would be this pathetic? But now it was too late for regrets, even if he cried a river. Furious and unable to do anything, Hanho angrily pulled out the dagger tucked behind his hip and threw it straight ahead. Unexpectedly, it hit a monster right in the head, successfully finishing it off on the spot. Not only was the nearby goblin surprised by that attack, even Hanho himself didn't understand what had happened. By some stroke of luck, he had easily defeated a monster. Recalling now, this talent for throwing knives and discs was his hidden skill. He thought it was useless, but who knew it would be so effective in a dangerous situation like this? Riding the momentum of victory, a series of daggers were thrown at the monsters. It must be said his aim was truly accurate. Every throw was a headshot. Hanho looked at his hand with joy. He had finally found his own fighting style. On the side of the skeleton army, due to the influence of the death aura, the goblin monsters had their stats reduced by 30%. Therefore, this small group of monsters all turned tail and fled. Just when it seemed things would progress smoothly, a sudden explosion rang out. Causing everyone to turn their attention, the final boss, Goblin, had appeared. It was like a giant with bulging muscles. It held a large club in its hand. It felt like if it hit you once, you would surely die with your feet turning cold. Seeing the final boss appear, the small goblin monsters immediately knelt and bowed to their leader. Sungwoo stood looking at the massive figure. He immediately deduced that this was the final boss. The system's notification also appeared: Final Boss Monster Goblin Chieftain has appeared. As if empowered, the small goblins, upon the final boss's command, charged straight towards Sungwoo to attack. Holding the spear in his hand, Sungwoo swiped a few times and managed to take down this swarm of small fries. He also commanded his skeleton army. Quickly finish them all off for me. However, the monsters didn't just stand there and let Sungwoo and his companions defeat them easily. The whole horde fought back fiercely. When the battle was in a stalemate, the final boss began to display its own power. It slowly approached, raising its wooden club. Sungwoo knew what it was about to do, so he shouted a loud warning to his skeleton army: danger run. But it was too late. A blow came down like the sky was falling. A huge explosion occurred, and of course Sungwoo's entire skeleton legion was wiped out. However, when destroyed, the formation was re-established from the beginning. Sungwoo could summon skeletons from the goblin corpses he had just killed. Just when it seemed the situation would be resolved smoothly, the final boss said no to that with super-fast speed. It charged forward with the club in its hand. The newly summoned legion was quickly smashed to pieces by it. Shrapnel flew towards Sungwoo, but luckily he managed to dodge it. Otherwise, he would have been injured by that last blow. Face to face with the final boss, Sungwoo's current mana was 2030. This area was filled with the corpses of goblins. He could use them to fight. The match between Sungwoo and the final boss hadn't even started when someone interfered. From out of nowhere, several daggers were thrown straight at the boss. The one who had just launched the sneak attack was none other than Hanho. He was extremely pleased as he said, "Does it hurt, little bro?" This accidentally enraged the giant monster. Hanho's face froze when he saw this boss had a temper as hot as fire, and so the result was Hanho being chased around this rooftop by the monster. While running like hell, his mouth didn't forget to scream for help. "Is anyone there? Help me. I don't want to stay home. I want to go out and play." After running for a while, he saw Sungwoo's 3 skeletons ahead. Like a drowning man clutching at a straw, he was still overjoyed at the thought of being saved. But with just one swing of the giant club in its hand, they were all sent flying in an instant. One skeleton, while being sent flying, tried to attack the boss, but it only managed to stab it in the arm once, before being kicked away. The skeleton died instantly. However, its sacrifice was not in vain. It created a favorable opportunity for Jisoo to circle behind the boss and deliver a critical strike, causing it to fall to its knees in pain. Jisoo stood proudly behind it and said, "This is the first time I've had to go all out like this, you son of a bitch." Sungwoo, seeing how Jisoo fought earlier, couldn't help but exclaim, "Her swordsmanship is amazing. Every movement is so graceful. She's truly at the pinnacle." Not wanting to be a background character for this girl, Sungwoo also resummoned his skeleton legion. He would recalculate his strategy for battle. Having taken a critical hit from Jisoo, but this was the boss, it couldn't be defeated so easily. It could still stand up and fight. The battle now shifted to a gang up on the boss formation. The skeletons surrounded the final boss. They charged in to attack first, trying to distract the boss, and then, timing it perfectly, Sungwoo, holding the spear, threw it straight at the massive monster. Unfortunately, it quickly dodged to the side. Although the spear grazed its face, causing a rather severe injury, it still wasn't enough to defeat this boss. The situation became even more difficult. As Sungwoo's mana was about to run out, he could no longer summon any more skeletons. Suddenly, the boss pointed at the skeletons Sungwoo and Jisoo. It laughed out loud as if in provocation. Sungwoo was furious, but in the current situation he couldn't do anything. He gritted his teeth in anger. "Damn it! I only have this many skeletons left. Is it enough to win?" Without giving Sungwoo any more time to think, the boss began its attack. Every time its giant club slammed down, it caused a tremor. Sungwoo had to struggle to dodge it. His expression became uglier than ever, because if this continued sooner or later, they would all be dead. Sungwoo wanted to risk one more move to kill this boss. The main character's aura activated. Out of nowhere, a sword appeared to help Sungwoo do just that. The boss was still frantically dealing with the skeletons Sungwoo had created. Meanwhile, Sungwoo was ready for a death match, with 2 swords in his hands. He stood on the sidelines, commanding the skeletons, waiting for the right opportunity. Sungwoo directed you to block his path. Instantly, from 2 sides, 2 skeletons charged to attack the boss. And then both of them were gone after one devastating blow from the boss. Suddenly, from out of nowhere, a figure flashed by, and with it a sword was thrown into the air. By the time the boss realized it, it was too late. Sungwoo's one-armed skeleton had caught the thrown sword. It swung down with a slash, but the boss still reacted in time, using its club to block the attack. That skeleton was sent flying backward. Unexpectedly after that, Sungwoo received a notification based on party combat. A synergy effect has been unlocked. Warrior Level 1. Activation condition: party equipped with 3 swords. Effect: increases attack speed by 10%, reduces weapon weight by 50%. The swords in Jisoo's and Sungwoo's hands suddenly felt noticeably lighter. As for the one-armed skeleton, it also activated its own independent effect, one-armed warrior effect. Activation condition: equipped with a sword on a single hand. It was truly the right time, right place, and right people. As Sungwoo's group was being buffed, the boss was gradually weakening. Sungwoo realized that if they linked these weapons together, his party would have a high chance of defeating this boss. Thinking this, he acted immediately. Sword in his right hand, table in his left, Sung-woo charged forward, intending a surprise attack. Not only that, Jisoo along with the skeleton also charged from two different directions simultaneously. This confused the boss. It didn't know which direction to block first. In a moment of hesitation from the boss, Sung-woo successfully closed in on his opponent. He jumped straight up. He slammed the table straight onto its head, then gave it a slash. Down below, Jisoo was handling it. She slid behind it and delivered a clean cut. The skeleton charged head-on in a suicidal attack, but the plan failed. The boss got angry and once again, Sung-woo's skeleton was sent flying. But then an unexpected variable occurred. A knife flew through the air and embedded itself straight into the arm holding the giant club. This made the boss stagger back in surprise. The one who did this was none other than Hanho. He had been hiding from a distance all this time, just for this opportunity to sneak attack. The boss was in pain. It growled in anger. Seeing the opportunity had come, Sung-woo commanded his one-armed skeleton to charge an attack from behind. An attack with the mission of being bait. Sung-woo had already determined the fate of this skeleton. He thanked it for its contributions. It was the toughest skeleton in the whole group that Sung-woo had acquired. He would surely not forget the noble sacrifice of this one-armed skeleton. Sung-woo's piercing scream rang out, and at that moment the skeleton charged to attack with the sword in its hand. At that moment Sung-woo couldn't believe his eyes. Unbelievable. The last slash actually took off the boss's head, while the one-armed skeleton remained intact with nothing happening to it. It turned out the reason was the one-armed warrior effect had been activated. It could block 88% of the damage from the boss monster's first attack. The system notification sounded, "You have received 225 gold from defeating the boss monster. You have leveled up to level 3. After the battle, Hanho finally peeked out to ask about the situation. "Senior Sung-woo, that skeleton, where did you get it from?" Sung-woo looked in its direction and replied, "I think it's the first goblin I defeated with a chair and table." The surprise didn't stop there. The kneeling goblin on the ground was evolving. The system announced, "The goblin skeleton has been promoted by absorbing the magical power of the goblin chieftain. Defense has been significantly increased. The commander attribute has been added. Depending on the number of Legion members, you will receive an organic power synergy." Its entire body was glowing, and there was a blue sigil on its head. Sung-woo was curious. He pointed at the sigil and asked, "What is this? Why did you get a tattoo on your forehead without my permission?" The skeleton was also bewildered and didn't understand what was happening. Sung-woo clicked to see the information minion statistics. Now, there was only one minion elite, Goblin Skeleton Level 2 weapon, Katana, attributes Undead and Commander. Additionally, the synergy power depends on the commander's characteristics. It's like it will grow from a squad to a squadron and then become a legion. This makes this goblin commander stronger, so Sung-woo just needs to increase the number of his subordinates, and the strength of his formation will also increase significantly. Besides that, Hanho along with Jisoo had also leveled up to level 3, and so had Sung-woo. Being someone who had never leveled up before, Jisoo asked for Sung-woo's opinion. "I still don't know what level up reward to choose for level 2. "Do you have any suggestions?" Sung-woo replied. "Everything is random, so you can only pray to get something good." What helpful advice. It doesn't matter which one you choose. As long as you're lucky, you'll get it all. As for Sung-woo, since he got a pretty good skill from the random skill card last time, he decided to choose the random skill again. Immediately after Sung-woo received basic bone weapon crafting, the system notification displayed the basic information of the skill level basic, consumes 10 mana per use skill description. You can craft weapons from the bones of corpses. Here are the types of weapons you can craft: 1 swords, 2 hammer-type weapons, 3 spears, 4 bows. The quality of the weapon depends on the initial materials. When the skill is upgraded, you can create even more types of weapons. A rather useful skill, as he could craft weapons for his legion as well as for himself. Additionally, Sung-woo's side quest was also announced as completed side quest Avenge. The professor has been completed. You will receive a random skill as a reward. Special note, your destiny has also been changed. Sung-woo remembered his professor. Finally, he had avenged that professor. Sung-woo received a skill: the maximum number of summoned skeletons increased by 1. This meant Sung-woo could now control 5 skeletons. However, there was still something Sung-woo didn't understand. That special note, destiny, has been changed. What did it mean? Sungwoo thought to himself. I need to be more careful in choosing new quests. On Hanho's side, a cloak appeared from the sky. Perhaps he had chosen a random piece of equipment for himself. This cloak was called the Bandit's Cloak. When worn, it increased the stealth stat against monsters by 50%. According to Sungwoo, this was a useless piece of equipment only for running away, not for fighting. But how could Sungwoo know the special fighting style that Hanho had just discovered was a perfect match for this cloak? The hidden hand knife-throwing technique was born. Jisoo, like Hanho, probably also chose a random piece of equipment and received a stone called the Fire-Starting Stone. Hanho glanced at it. It looked like a flint. But in reality, it wasn't. Jisoo explained that if a weapon was sharpened with this stone, that weapon would have a chance to ignite when fighting beasts. The business here was taken care of. Sungwoo urged both of them. Let's discuss the equipment later. Hurry and leave this place. The sealed door below has been opened. Scene changed to the floor below where everyone was gathered. Minsu couldn't sit still, so he went to ask his senior Jin-seok, "Are we just going to stay in one place like this forever?" Jin-seok's expression immediately turned ugly. Minsu continued, "Everyone's already whispering. They're saying we should have gone to kill the boss. They should have listened to Sungwoo. Hearing everyone say that makes me feel a bit uneasy." Before Minsu could finish, Jin-seok grabbed his shoulders and shouted, "Damn it! You guys dare to whisper behind my back while I'm trying to protect you. If you have something to say it to my face." Jin-seok seemed to have gone mad. He could no longer pretend to be a good person. He angrily roared, "Everyone listen up. You want to talk bad about others behind their backs? That much, huh? In that case, don't even think about me protecting you anymore. Get the hell out of here. Get out of my sight right now." As he spoke, he pointed towards the door. He wanted to kick everyone out of this place. The other students were dumbfounded, not understanding what the madman Jin-seok was saying. "Hey, what are you talking about?" "Go," where Jin-seok continued to roar like a madman. "If you don't want to be here anymore, then get out. Go up to the rooftop and die like that idiot Sungwoo." Hearing those unbearable words, the crowd started to curse back at Jin-seok. "You think you own this place?" Jin-seok still tried to defend himself. "I'm doing my best to protect you guys." But those empty words of Jin-seok couldn't fool everyone. "You don't joke like that. What the hell can you do? The person up on the rooftop is the one protecting us." As if hitting a nerve, Jin-seok flared up in anger. "Don't you dare piss me off. Shut your mouth, you damn punk with that haircut." The other student didn't back down either, continuing to argue face to face with Jin-seok. But how could this young man win an argument against Jin-seok's foul mouth? "Keep yapping, you little puppy. You think that guy Sungwoo is still breathing? Then go up to the rooftop and die just like him." While busy with his verbal sparring, this guy Jin-seok still didn't notice someone behind him. A katana touched his hand, accompanied by a familiar voice. "Who got put in a coffin, my dear brother?" Jin-seok instinctively turned around, only to see the skeleton legion surrounded by death aura staring at him. This made the guy's heart stop. He fell to the ground in fear. Sungwoo sarcastically asked Jin-seok, "You really want to see my funeral that badly, huh?" The seal is broken. The door is officially open. Sungwoo opened the door. That guy Jin-seok was still sitting on the ground in fear, his face showing disbelief that Sungwoo could survive a battle against a boss with immense power. Ignoring the other guy, he and his companions stepped outside. Before leaving, he didn't forget to leave a message. "Hey, you're a real eyesore." That guy Jin-seok suddenly stood up, wanting to say something to Sungwoo's team. He was shy, scratching his ear and his head unable to speak. Seeing this detestable expression, all the students couldn't stand it. What the hell, this guy always boasts about how strong he is. Now he's like a coward. He acts all tough, but in reality he's just a paper tiger. Sungwoo couldn't be bothered with this either. He, along with Hanho, Jisoo, and the Skeleton Legion, stepped out onto the grounds. Hanho looked around and saw, "It seems a bit too quiet out here." Jisoo also agreed with that because since we came out, I haven't seen a single monster. At that moment, Sungwoo informed everyone, "It's safe outside now, but everyone remember to stay quiet." Outside, there were countless student bodies lying on the ground. All of this was caused by the monsters. No one survived here. Faced with this situation, Sungwoo deduced goblins usually travel in packs. Perhaps they're hiding somewhere on this school campus. Hearing a noise, Hanho joyfully said to Sungwoo Sr., "I think there are people in that direction. They're approaching with weapons in their hands." Seeing the blood-covered sword, Sungwoo could also guess that they too must have fought fiercely against the monsters to survive. Seeing the leader wearing the same uniform as him, the sad expression on Jin-sok's face disappeared. He joyfully shouted, "Oh, it's the president." The other guy also smiled back. "Oh, so it's Jin-sok. You're still alive, huh?" Jin-seok started to suck up to this guy. "I also believe that the strong president can easily destroy that goblin horde. It's great to see you again here." Jisoo from behind also recognized this guy. She informed Sungwoo he's the student council president of this school. On this side, Jin-seok was whispering to the president as if recounting the earlier situation as well as bad-mouthing Sungwoo. "Just by looking you could tell." Jisoo whispered, "It seems they're talking about you." Hanho, seeing his senior being bad-mouthed, couldn't help but get angry. Hanho exclaimed, "These guys are really getting on my nerves." That president stood before the crowd to introduce himself. "My name is Park Dae-sung, president of the student council." With gentle and sweet words, he won over the people here. "I guess you've all been through some terrible things. We, like you, are trying to destroy those monsters. I promise to ensure your safety if you follow our party." Finishing his sentence, he looked down below and saw Sungwoo's skeleton legion, so he curiously asked, "But what monsters are these?" Sungwoo replied, "I'm sure you already know. This is the effect of the profession card I received." The other guy with a smug face questioned Sungwoo. "You accept creatures that have killed their own kind." Sungwoo immediately realized the intention behind this guy's words. He wants to make me look like a dangerous person in everyone's eyes. That guy Dae-sung had his people surround Sungwoo's skeleton army. Then he declared, "I'm sorry, but I have to say, if you want to follow us, you must eliminate these monsters right here and now." Sungwoo couldn't meet this condition, so he strongly objected, "I'm sorry, but I can't do that either." That guy Dae-sung continued to criticize, "You want to keep these filthy and unknown monsters with you. You want to keep them around us." Hearing that, Hanho was furious. He didn't agree with this opinion because no matter how you look at it, those skeletons are also cute, aren't they? Sungwoo's face darkened when he heard Hanho's nonsense. "Hanho, be quiet and let the adults talk. And you skeletons too, stop messing around for me." Returning to the conversation, Sungwoo didn't hesitate and bluntly replied, "I'm sorry, but I assure you I have no intention of abandoning them. Getting rid of them is no different than me throwing away my own weapons. Can you survive in this world with your bare hands?" That guy Dae-sung let out a vile laugh, his face contemptuous. "I don't know. But if we can protect you, what do you need them for?" That guy Dae-sung's face was smug as if giving Sungwoo an order. "I'm giving you one last chance. If you want to join us, you have to kill those creatures yourself." At this point, Jisoo couldn't take it anymore. She stepped forward to answer for Sungwoo. "Hey mister, are you deciding our fate for us?" She pointed her sword at the other group and continued, "When did we say we wanted to join your club? You think being the student council gives you the right to decide everything? You're a bunch of trash." Seeing Jisoo's appearance, that guy Dae-sung seemed quite familiar with her. "Aren't you the president of the physical education department?" Jisoo denied it. "No, the school has been destroyed, so what's the point of that empty title anymore?" Dae-sung paid no attention to her words. He wanted to pull Jisoo to his side. "President, please remain calm and follow us. You'll regret it if you don't do as I say." Jisoo was furious. She cursed him straight to his face. "Shut your stinking mouth, always acting like you're so good for the school. But I know you're the damn dog who embezzled hundreds of millions during the school festival. You think I don't know about that? I'm the one who posted it on the school's page." That guy Dae-sung was startled as he remembered that post. He never expected his anonymous accuser to be standing right in front of him. This guy's face began to sweat. He was a little embarrassed, but he still tried to reply. "Well, then we have nothing more to discuss. Just go do what you want. You'll die at the hands of those monsters eventually." Now the survivors of the school were divided into two factions. Everyone followed that guy Dae-sung and Sungwoo's team Hanho and Jisoo. Before leaving, the other guy didn't forget to taunt, "You guys will regret it. If you don't follow a party, you won't get any party effects. You idiots." When they were out of the crowd's sight, Sungwoo finally asked Jisoo, "Hey Jisoo, sorry, but can I ask if you have a problem with those guys in the student council?" Jisoo didn't hide it and replied, "I just see him as a piece of trash. He wanders around the school every day harassing girls. A few members of the department reported it to me. He might have a high position, but trash is still just trash." At this point, Sungwoo understood the problem, the reason why Jisoo had such a harsh attitude towards that guy Dae-sung. Sungwoo's group's next plan was laid out. First, they needed to avoid confrontations in those tall buildings and escape the school. Jisoo didn't object, but she had an opinion. If it's an escape mission, I want to avoid crowded places because monsters love to attack crowded places. Sungwoo thought for a moment and then spoke up. In short, we need to avoid those tall building areas. So moving through the hilly path behind the school will be much more effective. And so they decided to follow the hilly path to leave this place. Just as expected, this path was quiet. Not a single monster was in sight. It leads straight to the main gate, and there aren't many people there either. Suddenly, Sungwoo noticed something unusual. He ordered everyone to stop. Hanho was about to ask, but Sungwoo motioned for him to be quiet. Up ahead, the faint figure of a monster could be seen, holding an axe in its hand. Its entire body was muscular and bulging. Its large physique was not much different from the final goblin boss that Sungwoo had defeated on the rooftop, except that this monster looked like a pig. It was so bloodthirsty that it even killed a few goblins. Seeing the giant monster, Hanho panicked. What is that enormous thing? It's even bigger than the goblin boss. Meanwhile, Sungwoo's expression turned not so good, if not to say bad. He thought to himself, the creature that appears after goblins in these kinds of games and with that shape, it must be an orc. The orc suddenly looked up at the sky and roared loudly as if aware of Sungwoo's group's presence here. A notification window popped up. Which profession will help you survive in this apocalyptic world? Please choose. Hanho cried and advised his two parents, Hey Mom and Dad, don't be like me. Choose the cards with as many stars as possible. Mr. Han smiled confidently. Of course. Your dad has been playing cards for almost 20 years. How could I make a stupid mistake like you? Even more surprisingly, Sungwoo was also given the option by the system to choose a profession card linked to his current profession. 15 seconds remaining. Sungwoo thought a linked card. Does that mean it's related to my profession? He had just turned around and a card was already gone. It seems someone has already taken that card. So in a set like this, it will be shared with others too. In short, it's also like a quick hands, quick eyes competition. Calm down. If it's linked, isn't it better to choose as many as possible? I need to choose a card that can best support the necromancer profession. Sungwoo decisively grabbed a card. The system announced, you have chosen the Dark Mage linked card. The linked card is fusing with your current profession. A new skill is being established. Necro Aura, a buff for teammates and a debuff for enemies. Not bad at all. While Sungwoo was satisfied with his choice, the unlucky Hanho once again received an undesirable outcome. With the axe in its hand, it charged straight down, attacking Sungwoo and his companions. This time, Sungwoo was no longer afraid like in his first battle. He confidently said, Bring it on. It's time to add a new subordinate to my collection. Sungwoo had gotten into a fighting stance, but it seemed he had underestimated the strength of this pig monster. It was only when it got closer that Sungwoo realized he had misjudged its strength. He quickly ordered his skeleton legion to dodge the attack. It was a quality axe swing. If anyone failed to dodge, they would surely die here. Hanho still used his old tactic. He hid behind a bush to observe and exclaimed, How can such a terrifying monster exist in this world? The orc was attacking Sungwoo when it suddenly switched its target to Jisoo, just as she was about to attack it from behind. It had seen through her move. The attack was completely neutralized, and at the same time, it put Jisoo in a critical life-or-death situation. The orc raised its axe high, intending to deliver a blow to Jisoo, sending her to the underworld. But very luckily, a skeleton sacrificed itself, using its body to push her out of the way of the attack. While its own body took the full force of that devastating blow, the situation was critical. Sungwoo hastily commanded his army block it for me. Instantly, the skeleton commander appeared to face the orc without a shred of fear. As if having a mad streak without a second thought, whoever stood before it, it would swing its axe to kill the opponent. But this time it had met its match. The skeleton commander stood before the attack, nimbly dodged to the side, and then counterattacked the orc. At the same time, it also activated the one-armed warrior skill. The damage from the orc's first attack was reduced by 88%. A sharp slash with a katana straight into the orc's body, causing it to fall backward in pain. At some point, Sungwoo had gone up the stairs. He called down to Jisoo. Hey Jisoo, Come up here, fighting from above will give us a much bigger advantage. Jisoo immediately ran up, but it seemed her body was injured because she had just taken a hit from that giant orc. Sungwoo began to instruct, don't get too close to it. We should use the same tactic as when we fought the boss on the rooftop. After the last slash, the orc, though injured, was not yet defeated. It slowly climbed the stairs, heading towards the ones who had just attacked it. The plan began: the skeletons would act as bait to create an opportunity to attack. According to what Sungwoo deduced, surely clumsy monsters like this pig would have difficulty moving through the forest. Therefore, Sungwoo would play the guerrilla warfare style. The skeleton team surrounded it from all sides, making the orc not know which direction to attack. While it was off guard, Hanho hid in the bushes. He used his ultimate move, Little Lee's flying dagger, aimed straight at the monster. At the same time, the skeleton army also charged in for a group attack. There were a few cuts on the monster's body, but it was insignificant, because in return, Sungwoo's skeletons were smashed to pieces by this monster. Although the orc's strength was completely overwhelming, it couldn't have imagined the toughness of these skeletons. Two skeletons, risking their lives, grabbed the orc's arms, preventing it from moving. Seizing this opportunity, Sungwoo, along with Jisoo, charged forward, intending to end the match. But it wasn't that easy. Although its strength was restrained by the skeletons holding its arms, the orc could still swing its axe towards Jisoo. To block her advance, Jisoo reacted quickly, sliding underneath to dodge this axe swing. It turned out she was also just bait to distract. The real attack was from Sungwoo. Holding a sword, he chopped off the orc's axe-wielding arm. At the same time, from above, the skeleton commander also charged down, delivering the finishing blow, defeating the large orc. The system notification appeared: you have received 105 gold for defeating the orc commander. Sungwoo was a bit skeptical. It's a commander, that means it's stronger than others of the same race. Jisoo also spoke up. It seems that monster is only second to the boss. Sungwoo felt this battle was extremely worthwhile because thanks to it, they had gained more experience fighting new monsters. Sungwoo approached the corpse, intending to use monster summoning, but the system displayed: the corpse does not respond to your summoning, as your level is too low to summon a medium-sized monster. Sungwoo was a bit disappointed, as he still couldn't summon a new subordinate. After walking a long way together, Sungwoo finally asked about Jisoo's profession. Miss Jisoo, what kind of profession card did you choose? As for me, I chose the necromancer profession. Jisoo didn't hide her profession at all. She said, I chose the master hunter card. At first, I just chose it based on my preference, but it turned out to be a 3-star profession card. Mentioning professions, Hanho sighed again. I pity my fate. I have such bad luck choosing a useless 1-star profession card. Back to Sungwoo, his mana had also fully recovered. He wanted to try using his new skill on this orc's corpse to see what kind of weapon it could craft. As soon as the skill was activated, there were 4 options for Sungwoo. For swords, he could craft 6. For hammer-type weapons, 5. For spears, he could only craft 2. Finally, for bows, the quantity was 4. To fit his current formation, Sungwoo decided to choose hammers because there were 5 of them, 1 for each of the 5 skeletons in the team. Instantly, hammers made of bone were created. Holding them in hand, though a bit small, they were still usable. Equipment: information orc, bone hammer, normal grade hammer-type weapon. Sungwoo immediately equipped the skeletons with these hammers. A hidden buff was instantly activated, magic power level 1. Condition: equip 5 hammers. Effect received when injured damage is increased by 30%. Hidden buff number 2, 1 club and it's over. Condition: equip 5 blunt weapons. Effect received: gain a 5% chance to stun the opponent with 1 blow and at the same time increase damage dealt to medium-sized monsters by 10%. As if discovering something interesting, Sungwoo threw the skeleton commander's katana to Hanho. The young man even thought he was being given a treasured sword by his senior. But life isn't a dream. Sungwoo replied, I'm just letting you hold it for a bit. When I say so, give it back to the skeleton commander. Don't you see how beneficial the one-armed warrior effect is, or do you want to chop off an arm to replace it? Sungwoo's team continued on their way. As they walked, Sungwoo instructed, Look around carefully. We're almost there. Suddenly, Hanho stopped and pointed ahead. Look, senior. Why are there so many cars there? Sungwoo looked in the direction Hanho had just pointed. A series of damaged cars were blocking the exit, and even more special, there was also a magic seal. exactly like the gate Sungwoo had encountered before. The system notification read, "The gate has been sealed by a very powerful magic. Defeat the final boss to break the seal and open the gate. Failing to attack the target within the time limit will make the monsters in this area stronger." Looking at the time on the gate was even more alarming, only 8 minutes remaining. The situation became even worse for Sungwoo because the system gave another warning notification. "The orc party has begun the hunt. Please choose a suitable location to fight. Orcs track their prey by scent. The stronger the prey, the more orc warriors will be sent." This meant that currently, those who traveled in larger groups were at a greater disadvantage. They would be hunted by the orcs. Just as Jisoo predicted, the orcs had begun to act. The pig monsters with their giant bodies charged straight towards that guy Daesung's group. This group also had to be strong when they saw the orc army advancing towards them. Then a shrill scream rang out. Standing behind the school, Sungwoo and his companions could also hear it. Jisoo's expression was quite worried. She spoke up. "It's that direction. I think it's the student council's group." Hanho's face turned pale. He silently felt lucky, because if they had gone with that group earlier, he wouldn't know what his fate would be now. Sungwoo also agreed with this. So traveling in a large group in this apocalyptic world isn't a completely wise choice, is it? He realized the core issue for survival. The most important thing is to find a suitable synergy effect to fight each type of monster. It was quite fortunate that Sungwoo had chosen the necromancer profession. Otherwise, he would have been done for. Without letting Sungwoo's group rest, the system had chosen a few monsters for them to fight. A notification appeared. The first wave of attack is about to begin. Quantity 5 orcs. Seeing 5 of them, Hanho began to complain. 5 of them. Although I thought there would be fewer monsters than the student council's side, isn't 5 a bit too many? Before he could finish complaining, the orcs had appeared from behind. They were growling and sniffing, searching for prey. Hearing the monsters, Hanho was scared out of his wits, his face pale, not daring to look behind him. Hanho couldn't stay calm. He hastily asked for his senior's opinion. "I think it's them, senior. They're hunting us. What should we do now?" "What should we do?" Sungwoo was silent for a moment, thinking. Then he just smirked because he had just come up with a brilliant idea. Hanho had already put on his cloak. He said, "Is that a good idea? Do you mean out of the 36 stratagems running is the best?" Sungwoo confidently spoke up. "We will set a trap to hunt these orcs, taking advantage of the terrain here. And with our skeleton companions, we will open a hunt from the position of prey to become the hunter." The 5 orcs had just scented their prey. But when they arrived with their axes, there was no sign of anyone. While they didn't know what to do, a loud shout came from a distance. Standing on a broken-down car, Hanho yelled, "Hey, you guys, that's right, you pigs." Those words seemed to touch a nerve with the orc monsters. Their faces turned red with anger, their entire bodies filled with killing intent. Seeing that he had gone a bit too far, Hanho began to get scared. He was terrified, not daring to breathe another word. Being called pigs, the orcs couldn't forgive that guy. They all charged towards Hanho, intending to make a meal of him on the spot. But before they could even get there, Sungwoo's skeleton legion had launched an attack. The skeletons, holding bone hammers, jumped from behind for a sneak attack. Although the orcs were large and had overwhelming strength, they were not agile at all. They couldn't react in time and took a full hit to the head from the hammers. The damage from Sungwoo's newly crafted weapons was immense. The result was the entire horde of orc monsters lying unconscious on the ground. The simple remaining task was left to Jisoo. She quickly ran over and finished off the entire group of monsters. After defeating the 5 orcs, a series of system messages appeared, mainly Sungwoo receiving gold from killing these orcs. The most special one was probably you have received the victory reward from the first wave of monsters, receiving an additional 100 gold. At the same time, you have leveled up to level 4. Leveling up, Sungwoo also received a new skill. He went to check and saw maximum summoning limit increased by 2. Sungwoo's skeleton legion would now have 2 more members. However, the problem he was thinking about was that although the number of subordinates had increased, Sungwoo's mana source was still only at 50. Besides that, Hanho had also leveled up and received a new skill. Sungwoo was a bit curious and asked his junior. Hanho excitedly replied, It's a skill called Sonic Slash, but it seems it can only be used with daggers. As for Jisoo, she had also leveled up but with no new skills. Instead, Jisoo gained 2 more strength points and her whole body seemed to be burning with power. Jisoo herself also felt it. I feel completely different. My body feels like it's been re-energized. I feel my strength has increased significantly. After checking on the team's situation, Sungwoo turned to Hanho and said, "Hey Hanho, give the katana back to the skeleton commander. If you want to use the skill you just received, you're only allowed to keep daggers on you." Although Hanho was very reluctant, he had to return this katana to the skeleton commander. His heart was aching and his eyes were filled with tears. Since they couldn't leave due to the seal, Sungwoo and his companions followed the same path back inside the school campus. While walking, Sungwoo sensed something unusual. He signaled for everyone to stop. In front, the orcs were trying to attack a bus. They had surrounded the bus and were continuously using their axes to break it and get to their prey. Sungwoo observed from a distance 7 orcs. There's a party fighting over there. Although surrounded by several orcs, there was still resistance from inside. A spear was thrust out from inside to attack an orc. But that wasn't enough. Sungwoo said if this continues, they'll become delicious prey for the orcs. Jisoo couldn't just stand by and watch. Even though there were 7 orcs in front of her, she decided to help them. A plan was made. If they could attack and create a pincer formation, they would be able to defeat the orcs more easily. But Sungwoo wasn't very sure about this plan. I can't possibly know whether the people on the bus will understand their intention or not. And if that's the case, it's no different than putting themselves in danger. Suddenly, a brilliant idea popped into his head. Sungwoo pointed towards the attacking orcs. How about this? Let's show them the power of human civilization. Hanho and Jisoo looked in the direction Sungwoo was pointing, completely bewildered. On this side, the orcs were relentlessly attacking, breaking the car's glass windows. The blonde-haired guy was scared, not knowing what to do. He just stood there and directed attack them. "Don't you know how to use a spear, you damn punk?" Gyeongsu, a 1-star spearman, had a tearful face. "If you're so brave, why don't you go fight them yourself? You have a shield and a sword too." The others were just holding their heads and crying, "Damn it, we're done for here. I don't want to die when I haven't even held a girl's hand yet." Suddenly there was a noise attracting the orcs' attention. They stopped their attack and turned to see what was going on. In front, a truck suddenly appeared from nowhere, reversing. On top of it was a whole group of skeletons holding bone hammers. Before they could even figure out what was happening, they were sent flying by the truck. This even made Gyeongsu and the bus dumbfounded. The blonde-haired guy wonderingly asked, "What was that? How did you manage to get such a formation?" Gyeongsu couldn't form a sentence. The skeletons? Outside, Sungwoo's skeletons are ganging up on the orcs. They're easily defeating this horde of pigs. Looking outside, the young man's face turned pale. Who are they? Why do these scary things keep appearing one after another? Outside, after a while, it suddenly became strangely quiet. Gyeongsu was about to peek his head out to see, but a skull appeared outside the glass window, scaring the living daylights out of him. He fell to the ground in fear. At the same time, Sungwoo and his companions had neatly taken care of this place. Hanho knocked on the door. "Open up, we're normal people here. Open the door quickly." Sungwoo had successfully rescued a group of people. They were overjoyed, hugging each other and crying. "Unbelievable, we're saved." This place was cleaned up very neatly. Hanho took the opportunity, borrowed a bone hammer from a skeleton, and smashed it straight into the vending machine. But no matter how hard he smashed, he couldn't break its glass. Sungwoo had a confused expression. He turned his head and asked, "Hey kid, what are you doing?" Hanho was tired. He wiped the sweat from his forehead and replied, I don't have any small change. Can you buy me a can of Coke?" The blonde-haired guy from before being kind decided to buy it for Hanho to repay him. "Here, let your big brother buy it for you." But when he put the money in, no can of drink came out. "Hanho, you accidentally broke this machine." The business here was done. Sungwoo and his companions were about to continue their next journey. But as they were about to leave, Sungwoo remembered something. "Hey Gyeongsu, you said earlier that this thing spits out items, right?" Gyeongsu excitedly recounted, "Yes, sir. We've already tried, but we don't have much gold, so we could only try it once. If you follow the instructions, it will give us an item." At this moment, Hanho finally realized this is an item machine, not a vending machine anymore. As Sungwoo approached, a system notification appeared. Welcome to the E-Rank shop. Press anywhere to continue. Without hesitation, Sungwoo immediately pressed the screen. Before him now appeared the text, please choose a lucky spin. Bronze rank 100 gold coins, silver rank 1,000 gold coins, and finally gold rank with 10,000 gold coins per spin. The E-Rank shop only accepts the highest, the gold spin. The computer screen lit up. Hanho and Jisoo, standing behind, were curious senior does playing this really drop items. Jisoo added, even a knife can fall from the sky. Nothing is impossible. Sungwoo had never tried it before either, so if he wanted to know, he just had to try. The screen displayed the options. Please choose a lucky spin, bronze 100, silver 1,000, gold 10,000. Hanho looked and could only pout, I only have 360 gold. I guess that's enough for the bronze spin. Jisoo had 584 gold. Hanho curiously asked about his amount. Sungwoo calmly replied, I have 1,552 gold. Hanho's jaw dropped in admiration. So you can do the silver spin. Sungwoo now had an unlimited level prize spin ticket. He remembered, I got this through the hunter achievement, so I can use it now. Seeing him directly choose the gold level, Hanho was surprised. You can play the gold level. The wheel started to spin. Everyone anxiously awaited its result. The speed of movement slowed down. Would it be better luck next time or the jackpot? The result was in. Hanho excitedly shouted, awesome. The most important thing to survive in this world is luck. Sungwoo held the item in his hand. Its name was Tear of the Ocean Spirit, legendary grade magic orb subclass effect, increases maximum mana plus 200% mana regeneration speed. Hanho exclaimed he won the top prize from the gold spin. What a beast, Sungwoo smiled, I told you so. Hanho was excited and told him to do another silver spin. We're on a lucky streak. Sungwoo of course couldn't refuse. These lottery games were truly captivating. Everyone played the lucky spin. Sungwoo got second prize, the Vanguard Shield. Similarly, Jisoo got the Purging Longsword. Only Hanho was unlucky enough to get a C-grade medicine pouch. He looked at the pouch before him with a depressed expression. Why did I only get this? Sungwoo consoled him. What if there's a good healing potion in there? Stop complaining. Jisoo looked up at the sky and warned everyone. By the way, it looks like there's a commotion over there. Should we help them? Hanho had just put away the medicine pouch, grimacing. Senior Sungwoo, don't tell me we're going to use that trick again. Sungwoo smiled. No, this time we'll use something bigger. On the other side, there was indeed a big commotion. A massacre was taking place, and the ones conducting it were the stupid pig orcs. The civilians with no power could only run in chaos crying for help. At this moment, a spear appeared. It turned out it wasn't just civilians. The student council was also here. Park Dae-sung shouted, everyone hold the formation. We will open a bloody path. Charge forward. At this moment, someone in the team shouted, Sir, some people are trapped behind. The orcs were becoming more and more frenzied. Many people had already been killed by them. Park Dae-sung resolutely turned back and said, forget it. Do you think we have enough strength to worry about all of them? Jin-seok, Hyo-min, take your shields and block the attacks. At that moment, the sound of a car engine suddenly roared from somewhere. The nearby orcs stopped to listen. Before they could even understand what was happening, the whole group was hit by the car and sent flying into the sky. The person driving the car shouted with full satisfaction, "Ha ha! Money, oh money into my pocket!" Thanks to killing the orcs in this way, a lot of money had fallen into the young man's pocket. The members in the car were no strangers. It was Sungwoo's group. Hanho crawled out and loudly called to everyone, "Everyone get in the car. Hurry up." Everyone was surprised when they realized it was Sungwoo's people. They regretted not following them from the beginning. The stupid orcs panted and charged at the car. But Jisoo had appeared to block those stupid things. "You orcs, I won't lose this time." She slashed at them with a truly sharp blow. This orc quickly used its axe to block. The axe blade made direct contact with the bare sword, but her sword didn't have a single scratch on it. Having a bit of an edge really makes a difference. Jisoo smirked. "I'm much stronger than before." Fire erupted from the sword. Jisoo seized the opportunity. "Now's the time I did it." She had just killed one when she turned back to see Sungwoo fighting a dozen of them at the same time with his skeletons. These skeletons were really useful. After leveling up, they operated even more intelligently. Many orcs had been killed by them. Jisoo exclaimed, Everything is going exactly as Sung-woo planned. His tactic is to constantly move, maintain distance, and launch continuous attacks on the target. Distributing his subordinates to strategic positions makes it impossible for any prey to escape. Me, someone who worships strength, lost to the orcs right from the start. I feel like I'm just a piece of meat. Is he really that talented? While fighting, a familiar figure suddenly appeared in front of Sung-woo. He wonderingly looked at the group of student council members. Is there a problem? Didn't you not want to be near these monsters? Park Dae-sung forced a smile. Come on, don't hold a grudge. You came back, didn't you? You're not a heartless person, are you? Sung-woo resolutely replied, It's because I saw you run away and leave the others behind. His smile twisted. Leave behind? What do you mean I was just trying to make a tactical retreat? Sung-woo smirked. I also hope the people on the bus think like you. Dae-sung was speechless and couldn't say a word. At that moment, a notification suddenly appeared. The orc chieftain is enraged by the failed hunt. Sung-woo could feel that killing intent was very close. The student council members, upon hearing this news, were like they'd been struck by lightning. Sung-woo got on the bus. The bus has to go. If you're willing to listen to me, you can get on. Jin-seok stammered, What should we do? Dae-sung sighed, What can we do when there are other choices? Just as they were about to get on the bus, Sung-woo crawled out and said, Give me that armor too. Dae-sung was furious. Huh. Why should I give you the armor? Don't I have the right to protect myself? Sung-woo winked. Of course I'll protect everyone, but everything has its price. Of course, unlike someone else, we don't have time to work for free. At this time, Sung-woo had been promoted to level 5. He could now summon medium-sized monsters and his army. Looking at the options, Sung-woo thought medium-size, so I can summon the orcs. Just as I thought getting skill cards is still the most beneficial, his maximum number of summoned monsters had increased by 2. Sung-woo was delighted. Awesome. Now I can summon up to 9 subordinates. At this moment, a familiar tiny foot suddenly appeared behind him. Right, what's wrong? You don't seem very pleased, do you? It turned out his skeleton commander was coming to complain about this new outfit. This was the skeleton he trusted the most, which was why he gave it almost all the good equipment, and he even gave it a name. Because it only had a right hand, he called it Right. Seeing it was uncomfortable, Sung-woo sighed and told it to take off its shirt. Then he himself put on that shirt. Han-ho suddenly spoke up. Senior, are we getting another car? Of course we'll rescue the others too, Sung-woo replied. It's okay. We don't have time to run around and rescue them anyway. They'll automatically call for help. Sung-woo went to the middle of the bus cabin and announced, Everyone, from now on we will have to fight the boss. Instantly, a notification appeared. The orc chieftain has decided to declare war directly. All orcs will confront the survivors with the goal of total annihilation. Sung-woo continued. As the quest board has announced, this is unavoidable, because we can only leave the school after defeating the boss. A student hesitantly spoke up, Hey you, when I was in the gym, I witnessed everything there. The number of orcs is even greater than before, at least 100 of them. Everyone froze upon hearing this. The system displayed another notification. Because the quest time has expired, a debuff will be activated. One freeloader member's subclass penalty condition: more than 10 people below level 5 in the party debuff reduced movement speed, -30%, -5% attack speed. 2 lazy new recruits condition: more than 10 people in the party have not yet killed any monsters, debuff, -10% attack speed, -5% gold received. 3 despair condition: the majority of members have no fighting spirit debuff, plus 10% chance to fall into a disordered state. Everyone began to panic upon hearing the news that they had to fight 100 orcs. Sung-woo thought to himself, I already know how to fight the orcs effectively, so 100 more won't be a problem. I'll definitely win this match. With full confidence, Sung-woo boldly declared, I will fight alone. Having many weapons doesn't necessarily mean they're useful, he thought to himself. Han-ho's jaw dropped. Hey, are you crazy? What did you just say? Sung-woo boldly repeated, I will fight those orcs alone. The people around them whispered, Hey, did I hear that right? Is he crazy? Damn it, he's the only one I can trust. Dae-sung, sitting at the back of the bus, suddenly laughed like a madman. That idiot Sung-woo, the guys in the student council are ganging up on him. With that arrogant attitude, he just dug his own grave. So all this time, he was just lucky, huh? It would be great if that idiot just logged out. He's just a failure. He'll surely die for that stupid statement earlier. Jisoo didn't agree with his rash decision. Sungwoo, is there something wrong with you? Even if we work together, how can we fight that many monsters? Sungwoo calmly replied, that's also what you said before we fought the boss on the rooftop, right? That incident made me feel that fighting together won't be effective. In other words, the combat power of human teammates cannot be compared to skeletons. You were right. I don't mean anything by it. After all, you've been a great help. But I feel this battle will be very dangerous. I've thought it through carefully before making this decision. Jisoo was stunned. Although I know Sungwoo usually considers his tactics before fighting, this time is no joke. Late that afternoon, Sungwoo was now standing alone with his skeleton army. As for the others, they were on a nearby building watching him. Knowing he would fight 100 orcs alone made everyone extremely nervous, because to them, Sungwoo was the most trustworthy person. If he unfortunately died, they wouldn't know how to survive. The civilians were waiting high up. Hanho and Jisoo were standing in a nearby bus observing. Hanho was so worried he was sweating bullets. Senior Sungwoo has gone mad. If the situation gets worse, we'll have to step in. Jeongsu added, I'm also ready to step on the gas. The bulky figures of the orcs gradually appeared. Sungwoo stood waiting for them, feeling like 10 years had passed. This group, if they didn't appear, it was fine, but once they did, it was chaos. The one with the red blood on its head was probably the commander. It shrieked like a pig being slaughtered. Sungwoo wondered, if this guy is the commander, why didn't a notification appear? He must just be a sub-boss. It roared loudly, commanding its subordinates to charge and attack Sungwoo. He also turned to inform his disciples, let's move. While the other skeletons charged forward to fight, Sungwoo and Right stood in one place with their shields. Right said, we will wait here. We won't have to worry about the terrain anymore. This staircase is not much different from the path behind the school. Thank you guys. If you return to dust, don't forget me. The orcs charged in to attack the tiny skeletons. His army activated Wild Frenzy. The goblin army receives an additional 10% damage and a 20% attack speed increase for 10 minutes. Let's fight. The small knives flew like arrows straight into the heads of the stupid pigs, seeing his subordinates lying scattered at the feet of the tiny skeletons. The orc leader angrily knocked away all the flying daggers. Sungwoo was surprised the knife throw was blocked. Let's go for close combat. A critical strike from above, but this was also a very powerful sacrificial blow. The skeletons charged in front of the orcs. The result was arms going one way, legs another. Seeing his comrades gradually turning to dust, Right's entire body suddenly burst into flames. Wait, Sungwoo gently placed a hand on its head. Wait, it's not your turn yet. Seeing the small bone fragments falling before them, the orcs burst out in pleased laughter. But before their laughter could even fade, their lives were already over. It's time for the orc skeletons to enter the arena. The painful death obeys your command. The system announced synergy effect activated. Magi Warrior Level 1 subclass weapon, synergy condition party equipped with 5 or more battle axes effect after the first attack, gain an additional 10% damage, 15% attack speed for 10 seconds cooldown, 10 minutes. The orcs were in chaos, unable to react to the sudden appearance of this new skeleton. Sungwoo from behind was silently controlling the orc skeletons. Destroy them all. Even if it meant charging to the front lines, even if it cost countless lives, that army was never afraid of death. Because we were born from death, the undead army. This is the fighting style of a necromancer. Up on the tall building, the people inside couldn't believe their eyes and had to open their doors to get a better look. It seems everything is over. What is he? Did he really get a cool profession? Inside the bus, although they were on the same team, this was also the first time they had witnessed this side of him. Hanho's jaw dropped. Senior Sungwoo, I'm sure my senior went all in on the skill cards again. He should have told me so I wouldn't worry. Jisoo was stunned. Everything is really going according to Sungwoo's calculations. He must have considered almost every possibility to be able to fight like that. On the other hand, Sungwoo's mana bar was almost full again, so he was holding the magic orb, the Tear of the Ocean Spirit, with its extremely fast mana regeneration ability. This was indeed the level of a legendary item. The death aura emanating from the orc skeletons made the orcs scream in agony. The orc party was weakened by the death aura, their stats reduced by 30%. But thanks to the fighting spirit of the orc leader, the disadvantageous stats were halved. The orcs continued to charge into battle recklessly with his skeletons. At this very moment, Right was deployed. It charged forward as fast as lightning into the orc's encirclement. With its sword, Right easily fought in close combat with the surrounding orcs. The leader of the orcs was extremely surprised by the strength of this small skeleton. Right now looked like a tiny leader of the orc skeleton army. Sungwoo from behind commanded clean up the rest of them. The moment he finished speaking, the skeleton army charged forward, surrounding the orc group in return. A moment later, the battle ended exactly as he had planned. Sungwoo had just sat down to rest for a moment when the notification window appeared again. A lucky spin ticket has been sent to you as a reward for defeating 100 monsters. You are the 21st person in history to receive the reward for this limited quest. The reward is only for the first 100 people. Sungwoo wondered, where are the other 20 people right now? So this thing is a worldwide ranking board. The sound of a car engine roared. Sungwoo curiously looked up. That bus over there? Who's driving it? Is the bus trying to get out of the gate? Are they trying to escape without facing the boss? These idiots. It's the student council. Did those guys get caught? The student council was caught by the orcs crying and pleading for help. Save me. Sungwoo held his head exhausted. Seriously, what's wrong with just sitting still? They just have to mess things up. After cleaning up the mess caused by the student council, Sungwoo gathered everyone inside a building. After witnessing what he had done, some people offered to lend him a hand. I want to fight with you. I won't hold you back. At least I can defend myself. Sungwoo sighed. I prefer to handle things alone. But how could he say that to them? He could only turn and remind them, just don't accidentally hit my skeletons and you'll be fine. Sungwoo, along with 2 vanguard skeletons, stepped outside. Hanho, walking behind, trembled. This place looked so creepy. In front of them was an incredibly strange scene. Sungwoo held the magic orb in his hand, looking into the distance and wondering, what is that thing? Is that the boss? He had seen the group of student council members being held captive by the orcs. Sungwoo loudly warned, everyone get ready, we're about to fight the orc lord. Seeing the student council members in such a tattered state, Sungwoo felt even more worried. Although he hadn't seen the student council members' corpses earlier, were the orcs smart enough to keep them as hostages? As soon as he saw Sungwoo, Daesung acted like he had struck gold. He loudly cried for help, Sungwoo, save us. Jinsok, with tears streaming down his face, also chimed in, please, I don't want to die yet. You'll save me. Right before he could finish, Sungwoo resolutely spoke up, shut up. You guys only care about yourselves and leave others behind. Now you'll pay the price for that stupid selfishness. You should have realized it yourself. I already told you I can't save everyone. I'm not a god. Everyone charge. Although he said that his heart felt differently. The opponents are monsters. There can be no compromise. It would be very dangerous if those guys become the team's weak point. So let's just launch a surprise attack on the orcs first. I'll try to save as many student council members as possible. However, this group acted even before he did. They had already chopped off Daesung's head. Faced with this horrific scene, many people couldn't take it and vomited. Jisoo gritted her teeth and charged forward. You bastards! Sungwoo was now even more worried, not understanding what these bastards wanted to do. The orc leader suddenly laughed. A surge of power suddenly emanated from its body. This thing drained everyone's spiritual energy. Jisoo was no exception. Due to the influence of the death aura, everyone had fallen into a state of anxiety. Not only that, but they also fell into a weakened and stunned state. Mana was being burned at a dizzying speed. Final boss enhanced Great Mage Battle Mind. Meanwhile, Hanho was trembling as he fumbled in his first aid kit and took a sip of medicine. Then he immediately informed Sungwoo Sr. Sungwoo used this potion, but Sungwoo just told him to take care of Jisoo for him. He let out a strange smile. What is this smoke? It feels so refreshing. Sungwoo's mana bar, on the other hand, had been maxed out after inhaling the death aura. Sungwoo was delighted. Maximum mana increase, No wonder I feel so refreshed. The system explained. The death aura has helped to strengthen your body, and you have easily reached a state of excitement. All your stats have been greatly enhanced, significantly increasing your maximum summon count. Sungwoo laughed. I don't know what you did to me, but I want to know the secret behind this. It turned out, even the Orc Grand Magus didn't expect Sungwoo to be able to absorb its breath. It looked quite confused. Sungwoo laughed. You've never seen a case like this before, have you? It seems we have the advantage, just like back on the rooftop. Let's fight Senior Sungwoo. After taking care of Jisoo, she had also recovered her strength. The two of them were now ready to fight. Sungwoo continued to smile. No, this time will be very different from that battle. The corpses began to rise. They all became his subordinates. The synergy effects were gradually activating for his party. Synergy information. Warrior level condition equipped with 3 or more battle axes effect increases attack speed by 20%, reduces weapon weight by 50%. One-armed death soldier condition has only one arm effect, blocks 88% of the damage from the first attack. Magi Warrior level 3. Subclass weapon synergy condition party. Equipped with 30 or more battle axes. Effect increases damage by 15%, attack speed by 20% for the first 20 seconds of the battle. Hunter level 2 condition has more than 3 orcs in the party. Effect increases surrounding awareness by 20%. Increases damage by 10% during combat. Rebirth Stage 3 condition possesses an army of 30 or more undead effect, randomly recovers 5 undead attack speed when chasing living creatures, increases by 20%. Party structure condition. Commander Stage 2 controls a party of more than 11 members. Effect increases damage by 5%, defense by 5%. Sungwoo, I will show this orc Grand Magus the true power of the Death Army. The real battle is just beginning now. The orc skeletons have risen. They charged in to attack the position of the enemy's Grand Magus. Surrounded by the orc skeletons, the Grand Magus's formation broke. It fought in a frenzy. Sungwoo taunted, "How do you like that? This is your current situation. No matter how strong you are, there's one thing you can't escape. And that is death." Faced with his terrifying power, the Grand Magus couldn't hide its fear and fled. But his skeleton army would not let this fly get what it wanted. The skeleton army surrounded the Grand Magus in a circle. Sungwoo slowly approached. "Want to run? No way, kid. You can't run. The Grand Magus can only fight with all its might." It wanted to charge and attack him. Only then could this battle end. Otherwise, it would be difficult to break through this skeleton encirclement. The skeletons once again completed their mission while holding this mage tightly. Sungwoo now just calmly commanded Right deal with it. Just waiting for that. Right immediately charged forward. With just one strike from his trusted disciple, the Grand Magus was completely defeated. The system announced, "You have received 155 gold from defeating the final boss, the Orc Grand Magus. The elite goblin skeleton has been promoted by absorbing the magical power of the Orc Chieftain. Its defense has been significantly increased, and the commander attribute has been promoted." Looking at the notification, Sungwoo wasn't too surprised. Just as I guessed, Right can be promoted by defeating bosses. Opening the subordinate list, his subordinate list now had 3359. The veteran goblin skeleton's profile was opened. Weapon katana race goblin attributes undead and commander had increased to level 3. Hanho, on this side, suddenly spoke up. What's in the boss's mouth? Senior. Is it a new item? Sungwoo was curious and was about to reach for it when he suddenly received a red warning. This item will activate the demon attribute for its owner. However, the player will have to sacrifice many things to obtain this attribute. Sungwoo thought to himself, demons, huh? Their power isn't much different from a necromancer's, is it? He didn't hesitate and immediately took the orb demon attribute has been added. Item information, name, blood demon, stone, rarity, legendary grade, subclass magic orb effect. Activate the demon attribute for the owner. Each attack will burn 2% of the opponent's mana. When the opponent's mana is completely burned, switch to absorbing the enemy's strength. Because the death aura had been completely absorbed, his excited state was also dispelled. The battle was over. Everyone joyfully shouted, "We've defeated the final boss. Although I don't want to cause you any more trouble, I'm sure I'll be useful in the future." "He really has the qualities of a hero," Sungwoo grumbled. "I don't need any more people in the party. I don't even know what the world outside is like anymore. Traveling in a small group is still the best survival method." Traveling in a small group is still the best survival method. Although everyone was freed after what they had witnessed on the campus, they felt it was safer to stay here. After that, everyone went their separate ways, each to their own home. Some even considered following Sungwoo for protection. Hanho held his phone to check the situation outside. Damn, the situation in the world isn't much different from our place. I wonder if my parents are okay. At the mention of the word parents, his heart sank. A bus suddenly moved towards the two of them. Gyeong-soo, holding the steering wheel, called for the two to get on quickly. Although the road here is a bit bad, I think taking the bus is still much safer. Being a professional army driver, I know there's a large military base nearby. Let's go there together. Sung-woo waved him off. It's okay. I want to go to this place first. Hearing this, Gyeong-soo could only loudly call to the others. Everyone, let's get on the bus. We'll reach the safe zone soon. There's another bus, so there will be enough room for everyone. Before letting the bus roll, Gyeong-soo didn't forget to send a good luck wish to the two of them. Everyone had left, leaving only their group of three. Hanho wondered, so where do we go next? Jisoo, where's your house? Jisoo forced a smile. I currently live in the school's dormitory because my house is all the way in Jeju. She turned to ask Sung-woo, what about you? Can I go with you? I don't know if I can help you with anything, but… Before she could finish, Sung-woo had already agreed. Hanho smiled confidently. Big bro, as for this little brother of yours, there's no need to say anything more, right? Sung-woo looked at him with a sinister smile. How about you chop off an arm and become a one-armed warrior? I want more teammates who can use that good synergy effect. Hanho jumped in surprise. At that moment, Jisoo suddenly ran over and pushed the two of them to the ground. A giant black thing appeared, covering an entire corner of the sky. On this side, the rolling bus also stopped. The people in the car wondered, why did it stop, sir? Let's go. Gyeong-soo explained, we can't. If we start the engine, we'll all die instantly. Those monsters. They're attracted by the sound of the engine. The area boss, the leader of the wyverns, had appeared. A bus had already been snatched up by them. Sung-woo really wanted to do something, but couldn't. He still didn't have enough power. But this was also an opportunity for him to become stronger. Sung-woo stood up. Jisoo, we're not running from them. On the contrary, we're going to hunt those monsters. We must always adapt to new environments. That's why we have to hunt strong monsters instead of easy prey. Humanity will still rule this earth. That's why we have to find a way to control them. Sung-woo's group slowly approached. Facing them was another group of orcs. The system announced, the player has completed the tutorial stage. On the streets, dwarves began to rampage all over the streets. A goblin was running back to its den to inform its comrades about the sudden appearance of a stranger. Just as they were about to run, they were pulled back. It turned out the stranger was none other than Sung-woo and his skeleton legion. He was hunting these guys to farm gold. In just a little while, he had already collected a pile of gold from this swarm. Sung-woo successfully reached level 6 without exerting too much effort, while Hanho was panting exhausted from running behind. He single-handedly took care of all the small fries here again. Sung-woo sighed. It's not much anyway. Hunting these goblins doesn't get you much. Before him appeared upgrade cards. There were 5 types of cards: equipment, cards, stat cards, skill cards, power cards, and another random card. Sung-woo suddenly had an idea. If I'm destined to get a 3-point strength increase, why not take it? Sung-woo then immediately chose the power card. As expected, the moment he touched it, it took effect. He felt his whole body brimming with vitality. It's a completely different feeling from when I didn't have any gear. After that, Sung-woo continued to sweep through this area collecting gold. Jisoo, on this side, was also waiting for everyone outside. As soon as she saw them coming out, she asked, "Is it done over there?" There were only 9 of them here. We've already taken care of them. Sung-woo was pleased. Great, Hanho, you go pick up those daggers. Hanho scurried to pick up the daggers. In a flash, his bag was already full. Sung-woo turned to instruct everyone. All right, from now on, we'll ignore the goblins. Hanho heard it like a thunderclap. Why, senior? Jisoo immediately understood his intention. You mean we're going to hunt the bigger ones, right? Sung-woo smiled. That's right. If you look at the bounty board, the highest goblin only gives 10 gold, while an orc's head is worth a whopping 80 gold. Therefore, bigger monsters will surely have bigger bounties. With his own logic, he led everyone along the main road to hunt the orcs. Hanho panted as he walked. Although I don't want to say it, we're like a zombie legion. Huh, isn't that an army convoy over there? Indeed, an army convoy was stopped nearby. Sung-woo and the others immediately went over. Looking at the desolate scene before him, Sung-woo was a bit surprised. Was this place a battlefield before? At that moment, a figure suddenly emerged. It turned out to be a soldier. He stepped out with a shovel in his hand, his voice trembling. Are you guys human? The thing behind me. Sung-woo quickly sheathed his sword and explained, We're human. We don't have any bad intentions. Seeing this, the soldier quickly turned back to the car to report Sergeant Kim. "They're our countrymen." Sergeant Kim in the car said, "Of course they are. Did you think they were goblins? I'm sorry. But as you can see, my leg is like this, so I can't walk anymore." Sungwoo felt a bit of sympathy. "It seems you were attacked by a goblin's dagger, right?" Sergeant Kim admitted, "That's right. They're like a bunch of brain-damaged kids slowly assassinating our regiment. Although I managed to kill the goblins, but..." Hearing this, Sungwoo immediately wondered. "Where are your guns?" Sergeant Kim hesitated. "The guns can't be used. Although they're not damaged, no one knows why they can't be fired. That's why we soldiers had to use shovels and swords to kill them." Hanho slowly fumbled in his first aid kit and handed Sungwoo a red potion. As soon as he saw it, Sergeant Kim immediately gasped, "Wait, that thing? I've seen a player with it. Can you give us some?" Sungwoo hesitated. "I'm sorry, but in this situation, no one can give anything for free." Sergeant Kim's breathing became more and more rapid. "What about trading information?" "I'll tell you everything I've heard or witnessed," Sungwoo thought for a moment. "You go ahead and tell me first." Sergeant Kim began to recount. "There's a pack of giant wolves. Their size is comparable to a bull's. We couldn't even catch one of them, and they wiped out our battalion and the QR code." "Have you ever seen a green QR code before?" Jisoo and Hanho looked at each other, not understanding what was going on. Sergeant Kim continued, "I saw that thing over there. You can find it in the parking lot along this road and at the subway station's transfer station. Scan it with your phones, and then install this app. This is the only way to communicate right now, a virtual social network and app for survivors." And just like that, the potion was handed to Sergeant Kim. He quickly took the potion and asked, "Where are you guys heading next? We're leaving this place to return to base." Sungwoo looked at the soldiers lying on the road. "Do you think it's safe to return to the base?" Sure enough, with the potion's effect, the wound on his leg healed instantly. "Ever since the player appeared, the high-level guys have taken all the good weapons. We were forced to use other melee weapons, but I don't see that being a problem." Sungwoo replied, "As for us, we still have some places to go. You guys remember to keep an eye on the sky, okay?" Sergeant Kim was bewildered, not understanding why he would say that. Sungwoo kindly explained, "Well, there are usually giant flying lizards appearing up there." Thinking about it made both of them shiver. After saying that, the two of them immediately drove away, leaving only Sungwoo's group standing on the road. The group continued their journey to find the QR code that the sergeant had mentioned. Indeed, after walking for a while, he also found a QR code on a building. Looking at the Indian interface, Hanho was a bit worried. "Hey, senior, are you sure it doesn't contain a virus?" Sungwoo sighed. "So what, we don't need our phones right now anyway." The Play Guidebook app has been downloaded to Sungwoo's device. Sungwoo pressed the first item that appeared before him, Complete Newbie Guide. The admin's words appeared, "You have used today's service. There have been 2,967,821 people who have chosen a profession since the first profession round opened, and there are 1,341,122 survivors who are continuing the game. The second round of profession selection will open in 3 days. Therefore, we are looking forward to your choices." Sungwoo's heart was full of questions. What bastard came up with this game? And when I looked at the public posts, I didn't see any. Moreover, the app even requires 1,000 gold per post. After hearing that, Hanho could only gape. So one post on there is equivalent to killing 100 goblins. My goodness. After waiting for a while, Sungwoo finally saw a post appear. This person is 4884 with the title, "Is anyone around here? If anyone is in this area, please comment. We are a level 8 party and are currently stationed in a safe zone in Gyeonggi-do, Hwaseong-sai Building Hour. Everyone near this place, please reply to this post." User 1416 immediately commented, "Oh really, we're nearby too. Can you give a specific address?" 4884 replied, "We'll meet at the nearby apartment complex. Each reply will cost quite a bit of gold, so we apologize for not being able to reply to too many messages." Hanho was surprised. "This building hour is near my house." Sungwoo suggested going over there to check it out. He had a bit of doubt in his heart. Can they really use 1,000 gold that easily? I just reached level 6, and they're already at level 8. Something strange. But anyway, I still want to try meeting that high-level group. After saying that, as the group was about to leave, the comments he had just read were deleted. User 1416, seeing this, wondered, "I can't read the comments above. Why did they delete them?" Could they contain some important information? The original poster replied with a mocking tone. An idiot just commented some nonsense, so I deleted it. Please don't worry and just come here. After reading these lines, strange thoughts stirred in his heart even more. Meanwhile, on the other side of the phone, a large figure with a deformed body was sitting and looking at the comments, its mouth stretched into a wide grin. He was probably the one who had posted the things Sungwoo had just read. At the same time on the road, a goblin suddenly charged, and of course it was beaten to a pulp. But the person who did it wasn't from Sungwoo's group. It was a civilian. Following this young man was a little girl crying loudly in fear. With a baseball bat in his hand, the young man shouted in fear, "Save me, is anyone here? At least save the child." Some people inside their houses saw this scene, but could do nothing but pull their curtains shut. The goblin horde gathered more and more, just when it seemed today would be the last day for the young man and the little girl. A goblin was killed. Immediately after, with just a few moves, the entire goblin horde was wiped out. Now it was okay. Sungwoo went to help the man up. "Would you allow me to take you home?" The man was still in shock and stammered, "My house is over there. We're also about to run out of food, so we had to—" Sungwoo didn't hesitate and immediately opened his bag. "This might not be much, but please take it for now." The goblins, as soon as they saw Sungwoo raise his dagger, immediately fled. Sungwoo's group chased after them, their tone mocking. "Oh, look at those idiots. They've cornered themselves. Is this sign a dungeon? Senior, should we go in and clean it up, Sungwoo?" As his group was about to enter, the man quickly spoke up. "Wait a minute. You shouldn't go in there. That used to be my close brother's karaoke bar. I heard there's a creature in there even worse than those green dwarves." Sungwoo turned and smiled. "A worse creature, huh? Thank you for the advice, sir." Sungwoo led everyone straight inside. The system announced, "You have entered the Elder Smile Sacred Land dungeon." Inside the dungeon, the three of them had to run for their lives. Hanho ran and complained, "Senior, thank you for the advice to run immediately." Sungwoo's face darkened. "Shut up and run unless you want to bite your tongue." Up ahead, Hanho quickly shouted and held him back. Sungwoo wasn't scared at all. "Calm down. These are just small-sized slimes." Sungwoo commanded his skeletons to destroy the stupid slimes. Each of these slimes was worth a whopping 140 gold, but they stink so much. Hanho had to pinch his nose tightly against this horrific smell. "It stinks so much, guys, even iron melts. My skin probably won't last more than 3 seconds. Sungwoo forced a smile. Luckily, they don't affect the bones. Thanks to that, the skeletons can fight freely. The moment he finished speaking, the slimes continued to attack their skeletons. Hanho trembled and pointed behind him. "Senior Sungwoo, can you deal with that thing?" The dungeon boss, the Elder Slime, had appeared. With just one engulfment, Sungwoo's skeletons were sent to the Eternal Realm. Sungwoo was stunned. If they can't absorb it, they'll try to crush and destroy the bones. If they keep jumping around like that, the skeleton's attacks won't be very effective. But there's still a way to fight without touching it. Sungwoo activated his ability to craft national weapons. His plan was to mix the skeleton's bones with its body using the national weapon crafting technique. It couldn't decompose bones, so although it was time-consuming, it was the only way to fight. Jisoo gave a signal, throwing a dry skeleton towards Sungwoo. He continued to throw that skeleton into the slime's body. Unexpectedly, that slimy mass suddenly lunged at him. Luckily, a skeleton in front of him quickly pushed him away. Otherwise, his body would have been decomposed in that slime by now. His orc skeleton was also easily destroyed by this slimy mass. But instead of worrying, he just let out a confident smile. "You just made a huge mistake. The thing you just tried to swallow is no different from a time bomb." That thing had exploded. Immediately after, he commanded his skeletons to charge in and destroy it. Shred it to pieces until it can't regenerate anymore. Pour the liquid from its body into the empty bottles. Sungwoo was pleased. Good job, find some empty bottles and collect that slime. All his actions had a basis. This liquid was no different from a very strong acid. It would surely be useful later on. At that moment, a small orb suddenly appeared in the slime. The system immediately appeared to answer everyone's questions. Item information. Elder Slime's core, rare rank classification, crafting material description. This is the core of an Elder Slime. It has a thick and hard membrane. It contains a very strong acid that can melt almost anything. This core can be used to melt hard materials. Sungwoo stared at the round object in his hand, a crafting material. At this moment, Hanho discovered something else on his phone. Sungwoo, look at this. It's so strange. Why are most of the comments deleted? Don't you find it strange? Sungwoo seriously thought, who would want to help someone else and just throw away 1,000 gold so easily? But the suspicious thing is, why would so many people use 1,000 gold to make malicious comments just to have them deleted? Why can't I figure it out? Night fell, the moon full and bright. Those guys, I don't get why they want to catch monsters. From inside a parking garage, the voices of young men echoed. If we kill one person, they give us 5,000 gold and an additional 1,000 gold for each level the player has. It's true, catching people is much easier, and it feels more comfortable too. Boss in the end, who is our boss? The one called Boss, you could see how worried he was. He was trembling, holding his head tightly, muttering, Professor Red. The underling wondered, oh, could he be a serial killer? This guy remembered what he had been through. Those terrifying words still haunt him to this day. So you're still lucky. He had met a monster, its whole body red. It seems this is the end of the world, isn't it? I need more food, the monster said, laughing as it approached him. Meanwhile, Sungwoo suddenly called out to Hanho, are you ready to get your hands bloody? Returning to the story of the boss after encountering Professor Red, he had become a member of the Vampire Roads party. His profession was therefore also changed to a low-level vampire. He was mind-controlled by Professor Red, or rather by his own vampire ego, to go and suck the blood of others. Thinking back, he felt even more scared. Why did things turn out like this? I just went to the convenience store to steal some stuff and those street thugs. He only knew that after enjoying that sweet red taste, his mind returned to normal. Professor Red, seeing him enjoying his prey like that, was very pleased. Try to grow and become stronger, my son. His train of thought was cut short by his underling's call, hey boss, is something wrong? He quickly replied, nothing, what's up? His underling raised his phone to show off, I want to report to the boss that the prey has arrived. This idiot 157, according to the comments, his group has 3 people. They're already at the park. Hearing this, he immediately stepped on the gas. Good. Let's move. Prepare to harvest. The 17th blood bag. The car sped away very quickly. It seemed its owner was in a great hurry. This guy thought as he drove, the apartment complex is a rather large area, but that makes it easier to chase the prey. And the people in those apartments will just ignore it as if it's none of their business. Those guys still don't know they'll be the next sacrifice when all the other prey has been taken care of, huh? Their car sped up more and more, boss, there's our prey. Smelling the increasingly close scent of human blood, the boss almost lost his mind. He loudly demanded his underling, just step on the gas all the way. The car charged straight at the 3 people wearing hoods. But what shattered was not human bones and flesh, but skeletons. Before they could even understand what was happening, Sungwoo had already crafted the skeletons into attack weapons. Their car immediately swerved in another direction. The boss was then directly pulled out of the car by a hand. He lay on the ground, groaning in pain. What the hell? His phone lying on the ground was picked up. Hey, 4884, it's you guys. Isn't it you bastards? Sungwoo's dagger stopped right in front of his forehead. From the very beginning, Sungwoo had felt suspicious. The deleted comments, who had time to spend 1,000 gold on these nonsensical comments, he had suspected this must be some evil plan. Sungwoo drawled, but I don't need to think too much about it. Just looking at you guys, I already know. Jisoo and Hanho, standing behind, whispered, so trash like this really exists. This world is truly scary. Sungwoo continued to interrogate. How many people have you done this to? The boss bared his fangs and growled, you dog, do you know who I am? Before he could finish his sentence, he was kicked right in the chin. His juniors looked at their boss worriedly. Could it be that just one hit would knock out our boss? Sungwoo's face darkened. How many of you are there? If you don't answer properly, your head won't be on your neck. The other guy sneered. What's wrong with me? A brat like you has ever sent anyone to heaven. His dirty nails had not yet touched Sungwoo when Wright finished them off. He cried out in pain. Sungwoo was very pleased with this disciple. Very good. Right. In this world, I am not cruel enough to send anyone to heaven. But my disciples are not like that. While this crazy guy was crying, Sungwoo's skeleton soldiers were standing by the side waiting to deal with him. Sungwoo wondered, is this guy in so much pain that he's lost his mind? What about you? He turned to ask this guy's younger brother. Please be gentle with your hand, or would you rather have your leg? This guy was about to tell everything, when he was killed by his own boss. This scene was beyond Hanho's endurance. I didn't expect him to have the heart to kill his own comrades. He chuckled, his severed arm now no different from a blade. He used his own comrades to absorb more. He laughed happily. Here it is, this is great. Sungwoo immediately rushed towards him. After eating the vampire's blood, his physical strength and stamina will recover, and his physical condition will also increase. This guy's first profession was a ninja, but after being bitten, he changed to a low-level vampire. After becoming a vampire, your level will be limited to level 1 and cannot be increased. But this is not limited by much. Just by absorbing the blood of players instead of monsters, you will increase your experience, stamina, strength, all stats will increase significantly. This vampire is in feral state, stats increased by 20%. After exiting this state, he will be penalized 50% of current stats. Sungwoo laughed, so there's a worse profession than me. Everyone be careful, if we make a mistake we'll all be ruined. Attack! The skeleton soldiers immediately rushed up. But his speed was too terrifying, he passed through his skeleton defense. It seemed like he wanted to attack his shield. Sungwoo's skeleton was quickly destroyed. If this continued, sooner or later he would reach him. Sungwoo felt a great killing intent looking towards him. At this moment he had also reached the last line of defense. His sharp knife-like arm had reached in front of him. He used his shield to block it, thus saving his life. After that, Jisoo quickly rushed to attack the back of his head. But with this speed it seemed that he could not compare with him. He laughed contemptuously. I thought you were a kitten, but you are a lioness. Then I have to taste you first. While he was busy attacking her, another wave of attacks came from behind. It turned out to be Hanho's knife storm. After throwing for a while, feeling that it was too time-consuming, the boss attacked Hanho. He was scared and screamed. In these dangerous times, Right always appeared to protect everyone. At this moment, Right fought hand-to-hand with him. How could Sungwoo just stand by and watch? Unexpectedly, as soon as he arrived, he was broken by him with his high-quality shield. This is so infuriating. The shield broke into two. Sungwoo could only use all his luck to dodge the attack. On the contrary, he became more and more excited as he fought. Watch my attacks and learn from them. After saying that, Jisoo sullenly appeared behind him with a sword. This guy quickly realized and dodged. He laughed with delight, too predictable. But before he could finish speaking, Right appeared from somewhere and attacked. The boy gently carried his arm away. The guy painfully hugged his severed shoulder, my arm. Sungwoo quickly ordered the skeleton soldiers to attack. At this moment, a voice rang out from behind. His subordinates had arrived. His arm was gradually being regenerated. However, it was his arm that made his subordinates stop. They had already recognized his monster identity. Just waiting for that, Jisoo and Right joined their swords together, followed by the orc warriors. Finally, the sword in Sungwoo's hand pierced through his throat. If you're so confident in the monster's recovery ability, then restore my head. With that, his head flew into the air. The system notified that you had killed the player and received 1,000 gold. Gold from a player. Sungwoo now understood everything. He turned to ask his subordinates, "So this is how you guys make money?" Sure enough, there were corpses of other players in their car. "You bastards! You guys are the level 8 group, right? Put down your weapons or I'll send you to hell." As they finished speaking, the weapons in their hands fell to the ground. They knelt down and explained, "We don't know who our boss is. We received orders through the boss. I didn't expect the boss to become like that." Sungwoo wondered, is the boss the one who turned that guy into a monster like that? Is he human? His profession? I wonder if it's 5-star. But anyway, I have information that there is an extremely strong guy wandering in this area. Sungwoo continued to interrogate. "How many people have you done this to?" The other guy honestly replied. "More than 20 people, sir." The moment he finished speaking, his eyes immediately changed. Without thinking much, he immediately commanded his skeletons to deal with this inhumane group. Jisoo and Hanho were both unprepared for this action from him. Sungwoo didn't turn to look at them. He just quietly replied, "If I don't kill them, they will surely continue to do this inhumane thing to others. Bad habits are hard to break." Jisoo hesitated and then turned away. "It's true. I have no more opinions." Inside the army base, everyone was also monitoring the situation outside through that app. Sungwoo, of course, had also used 1,000 gold to warn everyone, read this comment before it's deleted. "The 4884 group are murderers. I was lucky to be nearby and witnessed everything they did to the people before. Don't go there." Sergeant Kim read these lines and was restless. Aren't the monsters enough? Now humans have lost their humanity too. Even if you join the army, survival is a really difficult thing. The world is full of madmen now. I'm at a loss for words with this world. At that moment, account 338 suddenly replied to 157, "Oh my God. You, 157, have trapped and neatly destroyed those dogs. 157. Can you see this comment? Can we meet you? And those skeletons too. What are they to you?" Sergeant Kim was surprised. Skeletons, could it be that group? Just as I thought, they're really at the top. A lower-ranking soldier was urging him to assemble with the regiment, but Sergeant Kim still lingered to drop a comment. "Skeletons, huh? Then I've met them once too. They're really at the top. Hey, 157, you saw their clothes too, right? They look so cool." Sungwoo's train of thought was interrupted by someone's cries. This person exclaimed, "That's some interesting information. I can't believe there are still good people like him out there." "So shall we begin?" Outside, Hanho informed Sungwoo, "Senior Sungwoo, there's a new post." It turned out there was a place to post for free, which was under Prosecutor Young Dungpo's post. Many people want to comment, but the price of 1,000 gold is too expensive, right? Well, here you can comment freely. Let's find guilds, share information, and survive together. Note that each comment is limited to about 200 characters, and you can pay 100 gold to change your nickname in the settings. Hanho's jaw dropped. Unbelievable. This person really opened a post for 1,000 gold so everyone can comment for free. Most of the comments were about finding members for guilds. Sungwoo was also reading the comments. A wolf can jump to the second floor with a synergy effect. I already know this information, but it's best to check regularly to see if there's any new information. Hanho took the opportunity to tease him. Many people are praising you for what happened a few days ago in Prosecutor Young Dungpo's post. Sungwoo scowled. I don't give a damn. They continued walking to another place. And this place was none other than Hanho's house. Standing before the familiar house, a sense of fear arose in his heart. Are Mom and Dad okay? Hanho pointed upwards. My house is up there, Sungwoo reassured him. Calm down. We don't know what's inside yet. The group went inside. They went up the stairs. It wasn't hard to find dead bodies here. Hanho trembled as he walked, praying, "Oh God, oh Buddha, please, I've made it this far." Arriving before the familiar door of apartment 202, he saw a scratch on the door. Hanho couldn't hold back and shouted, "Mom, Dad, open the door." "It's your Hanho!" The door immediately swung open. Fortunately, his parents were safe and sound. They were very moved to see each other again. In the desolate apartment building, Hanho's house was filled with the sound of people. Hanho was frustrated. "Dad, you didn't choose any profession card at all. No matter what Mom says to you, why do you never hit in blackjack? Your playing style is so strange." Mr. Han turned away and made an excuse. "It's because your dad didn't feel confident." Hearing this, he became even more frustrated. "That's why you're always broke and lose everything." Sungwoo, who had been quiet all this time, suddenly spoke up. "Can I ask how you two fought off those orcs?" Hanho also remembered he was going to ask this question. "The orcs have almost wiped out the other houses. What did you guys do to stop them?" Mr. Han replied, "As cold as ice, we used mosquito spray." Mrs. Han proudly recounted, "Your dad used the spray can to attack them while running away." Hanho choked on his water, not expecting his two parents to be so salty. Sungwoo had learned something new. I never thought you could fight off orcs like this. After eating, Hanho's mother brought out tea to offer the guests. "Thank you both for bringing Hanho back here. I'm sorry there's not much left in the house now. Please have some tea." Sungwoo immediately took the tea tray and thanked her. Hanho flew in from nowhere to join in. "Hey, Mom, your son is also very strong. I can also use a dagger to kill those monsters." Mrs. Han, on the other hand, gave him a look even sharper than any dagger. Mrs. Han reminded everyone, the heating system in this building is broken, so it might get cold at night. But the good thing is, the water supply is still maintained, so you kids can shower comfortably as if you were at home. In the entire huge apartment building, only Hanho's apartment had lights on. And this accidentally attracted the attention of a group of people. At the same time, Jisoo had finished her shower. She was wearing a nightgown lent to her by Mrs. Han, not forgetting to say thank you. Mrs. Han looked at the young girl with emotion. Oh, so smooth. The girl must exercise a lot to maintain that. Then it was Sungwoo's turn. He thought to himself, it's been a long time since I've been able to shower comfortably like this. The most important thing is that Hanho's family is okay. Luckily, the orc's senses aren't any better. If my aunt and uncle hadn't brought the spray, then, he turned to look at Hanho and then fell silent for a moment. Having a place to return to in this crazy world is truly a happiness. Sungwoo had finished his shower while Wright and Hanho were still playing with each other. Wright intended to use the toilet brush to scrub Hanho's back, which scared him to tears. After showering, everyone checked their weapons. Hanho wondered, "Do you guys have a plan yet? It's not good to stay in one place forever, right?" Sungwoo resolutely said, "I will continue my journey. The orcs down there are just scouts. Surely this area has an orc tribe living here, and they are very numerous." What he didn't dare to say was, "I still don't know which destination to choose next. At least I have to pick a location." While lost in thought, Hanho suddenly screamed and pointed at his phone. Sungwoo sighed. "Look who's getting lost in social media." Hanho explained, "Forget about that. Prosecutor Young Dungpo has already commented. This person has created a new post again. Look, senior. This is a community announcement with the title, 'Survivors in Young Dungpo should read this. We have prepared a safe zone.' The detailed content of the post is, 'We have prepared a safe shelter for you. There will be many doubts that this is a trap, but I swear it's not. A colleague of mine has a 3-star engineer profession. He can create barriers that prevent monsters from entering this area. We cannot provide shelter for everyone. However, we are looking for a new leader. It will take quite a bit of time, so we are planning to collect gold and materials. There will be an assessment test for everyone who wants to enter this area. We hope you understand." Jisoo was skeptical. "Can we trust them this time?" Sungwoo was silent. "So this is the reason they posted yesterday. The place that Prosecutor created is probably real. The current world is like a game where powerful skills and professions exist. However, yesterday, 1,000 gold was spent to create a comment section for the survivors. It's hard to believe this is an unconditional kindness. Everyone pay attention to the other comments. A person with the ID Dasker commented, 'Just as I predicted, Prosecutor Young Dungpo is a good person. Thank you for the information, sir. Our group was about to go to Buchen, but after reading this, we've changed our direction. See you later.' They were all praises, words of thanks for this prosecutor. There were many comments leaving gratitude, and Sungwoo could see through everything. They are trying to build initial trust by presenting a good leader. Everyone will gather, and that shelter will start collecting gold. Just like that, a new government is formed. He guesses these people are secretly collecting gold and medicine. Hanho finally understood everything, my god, so there's really no such thing as free kindness, Sungwoo admitted. Anyway, this is just my personal opinion. Young Dungpo is quite far from here, so we shouldn't go there. There's another place belonging to an old man with a shady account. He's looking for girls to live with in his love castle, so let's just skip it. Hanho, after a while of scrolling through comments, also found a place. This person's ID is head of the goo department. There's a rather safe place in Suwon. I am also a 2-star priest. You can pay a fee and live here. If you want to make a reservation, please contact me. Sungwoo thought, I don't like the idea of paying rent at all, but I'm also quite curious about these safe zones. Suwon isn't too far. If we take the bus, it'll only take about 20 minutes. Sungwoo has decided that the next destination is this place. Hearing this, Hanho excitedly ran to ask his parents. The next morning, Sungwoo's group had finished preparing to set off, and so had Hanho's family. Sungwoo shyly apologized to his parents. Making you two move like this makes me feel so guilty. The old couple forced a smile. You were able to bring Hanho back safely, so we will trust you. After all, this place is not safe at all. Besides the monsters, there are also gangs of thieves and robbers. Sungwoo was surprised. Gangs. At that moment, the two of them revealed, I guess they're the street punk students. They move around everywhere trying to bully and rob everyone of their belongings. Sungwoo sighed. I can't believe there are these straw gangsters around here too. At that moment, the sound of a motorcycle engine suddenly appeared here. This was probably the gang of thieves that Mr. Han had mentioned earlier. The motorcycle stopped in front of the three of them. Hey, mister, the young girl sitting behind called out to Sungwoo. Hearing this, Sungwoo could only freeze. The other two were trying not to laugh. The young punks now raised their voices. This tree was planted by us. This road was built by us. If you have anything good, hand it over as a road toll for us, quick. Or do you want to cry while you hand it over? Sungwoo smiled as he summoned his skeletons. Well, the group quickly realized the others were skeletons and immediately fled. Or the reason for their flight was something else. At that moment, a roar suddenly appeared. Sungwoo loudly warned everyone, "Be careful. Something is coming this way." Every step of this creature made the ground tremble. Sungwoo's jaw dropped at its appearance. "They're a pack of giant wolves." Sungwoo ordered everyone to slowly retreat. It would be very dangerous to fight these things in close combat. With their sharp teeth and claws, they'll tear the whole team to pieces. Sungwoo was calculating their bodies are horizontally oriented while human bodies are vertically oriented. If we get pushed down, there's no way to get back up. At that point, our lives will surely belong to them. Hanho was worried. "Senior, is it safe to hold out here?" Sungwoo replied without thinking, "No. If I were them, I would definitely level this place." Hanho was startled. "Then what should we do?" At that moment, a wolf suddenly charged towards them. A potion was then thrown straight into its face. This wasn't actually a potion, but the slime from the slimes that he had previously asked the skeletons to collect. They had properties like concentrated acid. The moment the wolves touched this slime, their bodies would be burned. Sungwoo turned and commanded the skeletons, "It's your turn. Throw your spears." The moment he finished speaking, a rain of spears fell upon the wolves. Sungwoo silently calculated, to defeat these four-legged creatures, this tactic is still the best attack from a distance. The wolves charged in out of control. Sungwoo immediately shouted for everyone to advance. Although his skeletons were easily devoured by the wolves, this was also his purpose. Sungwoo laughed. "I bet you guys weren't taught not to eat things given by strangers. I secretly put a bunch of slime in the skeleton's hands as a gift for you." While they were busy vomiting up the slime, the leader Right would enter the battle. One move to finish off the wild wolf and receive 240 gold. Just like that, Sungwoo continued to deploy his plan. He had easily defeated the entire pack of wild wolves thanks to his own mind. One step closer to level 7. On the other hand, Jisoo was feeling down. "I couldn't help with anything again." Sungwoo explained, "No, this time it's because the tactic wasn't suitable for you." Sungwoo understood her feelings. For Jisoo's profession, this is nothing short of a humiliation, but it's better to let her develop her physical strength. After all, she's better at that. Completely opposite to Jisoo's state, Hanho, although he didn't contribute much, didn't feel sad at all. He was even introducing the little kid, Right, to everyone. "This is the squad leader of the skeletons." Sungwoo went to the corpses of the wild wolves and tried to summon them. Unfortunately, his current level was still too low to summon large-sized monsters. Sungwoo turned back to instruct everyone, "Let's leave this place quickly. There are surely many more of them around here." Meanwhile, in the sky, a helicopter was facing a wyvern. The old sergeant sitting in the cockpit screamed in fear, "Hey, can you hurry up? At this rate, we're going to be caught." The pilot explained, "This is the maximum speed, sir." He angrily shouted, "Sergeant Kim, you bastard. You should have reported monsters like this beforehand. Wasn't it because you refused to accept the report from the sergeant, old man?" He gritted his teeth and cursed. "Before the Yeongdang-po, people get more manpower, our army has to take the lead. But with monsters like this, what can we do?" The area boss, the leader of the wyverns, had appeared in front of their helicopter. It immediately grabbed the helicopter and threw it down. Perhaps it saw it as a form of entertainment. The space above, in the end, was even more dangerous than the ground. Sungwoo's group inside a building had witnessed this entire horrifying scene. Hanho stammered, "I also guessed it would be something like this, but I never expected the wyverns to be so brutal." This huge wyvern was lying lazily on a building. At this moment, Hanho's father suddenly spoke up, "I've seen them sleeping here before." Although the safe zone was very close, Sungwoo still thought they shouldn't be reckless. "It's best to wait for them to leave for another place. We'll temporarily camp here." Night fell, and each wyvern chose a building to sleep in. Sungwoo's group was also resting.